Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What's the deal, Panther fans? Welcome to another edition of the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. My name's Tony Dunn. You can call me the Professor. We're here every Tuesday night, chopping up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective, hanging out with my homeboys after a tough loss. The Carolina Panthers fall 26-24 to the Cleveland Browns in what was meant to kick off a good season, and it already has us questioning what the strengths of this team could be. Is this a losing cause? How do we get things back together? And then I'm just trying to remind myself it's week one. There's a lot of football to play, but there's also a lot at stake as we go into New York, where we laid the biggest of eggs last year. And I have upset a lot of people in the past saying that that game is one of the worst games that the Carolina Panthers have ever played in their history. Another game like that could mean disaster for this the psychology of this podcast, the psychology of the people out there listening right now, and also probably the hopes and dreams of anybody involved on that team right now. So we've got all of that to talk about, plus conspiracies afoot, Saquon going nuts, Christian McCaffrey not getting the ball, and the Panthers all of a sudden are a passing team like I told you. We've got all that plus your cat calls and more. And I'm going to do it with my favorite homeboys right here. I'm going to pass the mic to my boy, Cody Lashney. How you doing?
Tony Dunn. And the NFL season has officially begun. It did not end the way we wanted it to, but you are right. We are just beginning this NFL season, man. We have so much to cover and go through tonight. That not only do we have to go through this Browns postmortem, but we're going to talk about this matchup with the Giants. Everyone's saying that Saquon Barkley is back, looking like one of the better running backs in the NFL. Man, we're going to do it first and foremost with the best Panther fans in the NFL, Tony Dunn. You already know him and love him. It's our guy, Drew, Brad, Holt, Just Don't Care, Lawrence Trevette, Jay Prey, Joey the Blind Panther Esquivel, Panther Pickle, what's up with you? Richard Bowling, Roosevelt Mongo, Skunk Ape Mysteries, Ted Seams, Tim Estes, Tyler Jones, and William Taylor. Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Man, you can call into the show at 252-228-5098. Support us by smashing the thumbs up button, subscribing, helping us now on our way to 5,000 subscribers. How about that? We crested 4,000, and now we're just rocking and rolling all the way to 5,000. We got like 800 to go, but man, I think we can do it in like 5 weeks at this pace. And thank you so much for support, monetary support, like Just Don't Care, with a $10 love bomb to start the show off, man. We appreciate that support. And look, you can continue to support us in different ways. You can follow us on Twitter. You can download the podcast on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher. Just be part of the conversation, even if that means jumping on Discord. But one cool thing you can do is you can join the C3 Superfan Club. Just look for the join button below, $1.99. Small contribution per month gets you some cool little loyalty. It gets you kind of some stomping rights or bragging rights in the chat. We appreciate that. And I also appreciate my man CK coming in and hanging out and talking Panthers with us.
Always happy to be here, man. We've had a little bit of time to cool off, let logic prevail. Whereas I'm sure there are people who are still going to bring emotion into the conversation. I know we don't want to be blindly glass half full, but man, I'm telling you, I saw a lot of positives out of this team that second half. I think that I'm hoping that there's little fixes that need to be made. And since we only have to worry about one back this week, I'm hoping that allows for them to really hone in on what they're doing, because we're not really having to worry about a ridiculous receiving threat, similar to last week. We don't have a Daniel Jones who is going to be lighting up the scoreboard. Fingers crossed. And a defense that's quite questionable. It's not nearly to the same level that you have with the Browns, but every week's a tough week, so it's going to be good to talk about what we saw, what we will see. But I'm happy to be here with you boys talking about it.
Talk about cooler heads prevailing, Greg. The Panthers stink, man, and the NFL is rigged, and we got screwed, and we stink. So it's hard to say we got screwed when we stink it up. And man, I'm telling you, it's crazy. I heard Joe Person put it this way, and on WFNZ, and I'm kind of stealing the line, but I'm also crediting for him. Crazy to feel that week 2 is a must-win situation for the Carolina Panthers, Greg. They stunk.
Man, I have had such an emotional last 2 days, and it's crazy because before football season started, my wife showed me this meme, and it was like 1 day away from letting a bunch of guys I don't know control my emotions for the next 4 months. And I was like, yeah, and I told myself I wasn't going to get like that, and I got so emotional over the injustice, in this game, right? What I felt like was, and we can, go into it, but yeah, it does kind of feel like it's a must win, and it really shouldn't, because like CK says, there are positive things to take out of this after my head's cooled a little bit and everything. So, I mean, we got a lot of stuff to talk about with that. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like even if we don't win week 2, I don't feel like the season's over, because if anybody else put up the numbers that Baker Mayfield did, what was he, 5 of 6 for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter? If anybody else did that, they call it an amazing comeback. But for some reason, people are trashing him for this because he didn't start until the fourth quarter. We're gonna
maybe because he had 9 million fumbles.
That's
9 million fair argument. Balls.
That's a fair argument.
And again, pure Carolina Panthers. He's already one of us. It's a tale of two halves.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is a tale of two halves. I feel like with that first half was nothing for us. So we got a great show tonight, man. I know that's for sure.
We do.
Hold on, I'm trying to find this right now. Is speaking of batted balls. Let's pull down that comment real quick. Is speaking of batted balls, Manscaped. This show is sponsored by Manscaped this month, and you can help them remain a sponsor with us through the season by supporting them. You go to the website, you use the code Panthers, and you can go out there and bat your balls with the lawnmower 4.0 and without fear or shame or being scared of trimming your or cutting your junk up. You can make sure you don't got no afro puff down there. And look, I tell you this, is too many men we forget, or at least as you think that grooming is not as important. My wife, man, she takes care of herself. She spends so much time getting ready just to like go to the grocery store. And I'm like this, man, take care of yourselves. Show some pride in your below the waist area. Keep it clean, keep it dry, keep it fresh in case you need to use it. Right? You hate to be there and be ashamed. So you can go to manscaped.com, use the promo code Panthers, go buy some cool stuff, from things to trim your beard and your ears and your nose, things to keep you fresh and clean, or just styling and profiling with that cool, with the cool t-shirt. Everybody, I tell you, every time I wear my Manscaped t-shirt, somebody comes up and talks to me. They straight come up and say, like, everybody's got to say something, from some old lady who'd be like, "Oh, I got such a kick out of your shirt," to, "Oh, you Manscaped," like everything. So go to manscaped.com, use the promo code Panthers. You get 20% off your discount, your purchase, plus free shipping worldwide, wherever you're at. I know we got listeners across the pond. This applies to you as well. Cody, let's go ahead and get into the show. Batted balls, fumbled balls, all of that, but somehow the Carolina Panthers actually are better, according to Matt Rhule. Tonight's show is Panthers screwed and Rhule booed. We have to listen to Matt Rhule and look at his face all the time. He's like, every time he's like, gosh, I can't stand looking at him at this point. W's will make his face more appealing to me for sure. But I tell you, the Carolina Panthers now are on a 8-game losing streak. Is this right?
Yes, this is indeed correct. You put on the slide here. Let me change our view. Yeah, the Panthers. And this is a stat that I remember at the end of last year, and it has returned. The Panthers now have lost 8 straight games dating back to last season. And that's embarrassing, man. And I put on Twitter jokingly during the game that now we're the Browns of the NFL. We're the ones that are like, we cannot get out of our own way. We're embarrassing and how we're led as a football team. And Tony, tonight we're gonna get into this conversation of, should the Panthers be a run first football team, be a pass first football team? I'm of the opinion that we are built primarily, at best, to be a run first, aggressive, physical football team on offense and being a fast, aggressive defense. And for most of that game against the Cleveland Browns, I felt like neither of those things were true. I felt like at most times we were uninterested in running the football with Christian McCaffrey. And then when we did, it wasn't until late in the football game when we're having to fight and claw our way back into action. The defense was also, I feel, lacking in a lot of areas too. One of the things that we're going to key in on is our run defense and the fact that the Panthers continue to get run all up and down them on defense. And this is another problem that continued from last year. So at a time when Panther fans everywhere are trying to be hopeful about this brand new season, this future that we have, so many of the problems of the 2021 season are still rearing their ugly head, and we're just picking up the pieces trying to figure out why.
The defense did stink it up, giving up 217 rushing yards. Struggle against the defense. So let's do this. Let's kind of go around the horn real quick. Impressions now that we've cooled off. Thoughts about this team and the aftermath, and then we'll get to Matt Rhule and what he thinks about this team versus last year. Papa, go ahead and tell us, Greg. Let's go ahead and bring Greg up into this. Greg, what do you think 2 days removed from this loss, this in many ways heartbreaking loss, now that you have had a moment to think about it, what's on your mind most?
Actually, after watching one of the Matt Rhule presser, one thing kind of came to my mind, and I was like, wow, I didn't really think about that. And now that I go back and look at it, he is really correct about this. And it's just we had some explosiveness in some of the stuff plays. And I know we had 2 big plays, but I haven't seen big plays like that in a long time. A long time. Like, I know that Robbie Anderson got beat, lone coverage. He went deep, whatever. But that ball traveled 56 yards in the air on a dime. And I haven't had a quarterback that
moving
can do that
to
in quite
his
a
left.
long time. Yeah. So I haven't had a quarterback that can do that in a long time. Yeah, he's going to make mistakes. He's not perfect, but that's a good ability to have. And with the weapons we have, that is one thing I can say we've improved on this year, is the ability to go deep is going to open us up a whole lot more. I mean, I had to keep reminding myself, this is week 1. This is week 1. This is week 1. I hate losing week 1, because if you win week 1, you can at least say I have the best record in the NFL for at least 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
I have the best record in the NFL. And I don't get to say that a lot as a Carolina Panther, but after I've cooled down a little bit and gone back and had to delete a few tweets after I ranted and felt kind of bad about them because I went off. I think that I haven't lost hope. And I don't know if that's
what did your tweet say that you deleted? What was the general
I went after
nature of
Florio. It was basically just him not the article that he wrote pushing a narrative for the NFL. It's really anything that I didn't really need to delete. Like, I didn't do a lot of cussing, and I didn't say anything bad about him, just his take on this. And it was like 5 tweets long. But I was like, I don't need to put this out there. I started to feel like I was putting poison out in the world, like people are entitled to their opinions. And if I don't agree with it, I don't have to read his article. And that was kind of the point I got to. And I was like, let me just delete this. So
you mentioned explosive plays. CK, I think that was this the 3rd year in a row that Robbie Anderson has had a big play in week 1.
It kind of feels that way,
I can't remember if he had one last year. I know that the first game with Teddy Bridgewater, he had a big one.
I don't remember if it was the first game, though. You might be right.
I think he did last year, though. Yeah,
I know. I know he definitely had one But it was early, but I can't remember if it was the against the Jets or not. The thing that I'll say about it is, like, I know there's going to be a lot of conversation surrounding this defense and the run defense. The thing is you see in the chat, like, how many yards were after contact is the real problem. The thing that should be a positive that we should look at is our defense was in position to stop those runs. They were where they needed to be to stop the run. The problem was they didn't execute. Now, I'm not ready to take that off of the coaches because we didn't give Ron Rivera that benefit, right? We said that, missed tackles are on coaching. And I'll be honest with you, I am so tired of missed tackles being a big part of our conversation when it comes to our defense. It's a huge issue at this point in time. I think I'm still prepared to blame Phil Snow, but the fact that our defense was in position for those pretty much every single run play to stop it, close to, if not behind the line of scrimmage, should be encouraging, because I think the missed tackles are things that can be fixed. I think it's just if I'm guessing, I think that it has more to do with the fact that we went with such a young defense, and we aren't going we are very speed oriented, right? We're not strength oriented. So when we go against a guy like Chubb, the reality is, unfortunately, that dude can power through a lot of our defensive players. We need to get some strength on that defensive line, and that's what Derrick Brown was supposed to be. But he can't be everywhere, and if anywhere really at this point.
I do want to pose this. I think one of the things that we maybe kind of put our heads in the sand about regarding this offseason is that defensive line. And so much of the conversation was around whether or not Scott Fitterer and the Carolina Panthers would add another defensive end. The name Carlos Dunlap was heavily floated and associated with us. He ends up signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. So, again, like, the guys that we have on our D-line, these are the guys that we're going to be running with all season. And it really does make you worry. Yes, the Cleveland Browns have one of the better run-blocking offensive lines in the NFL. That needs to be stated. And two of the better running backs in the NFL. That is true. But like I mentioned earlier, the fact that stopping the run has been such a problem for the Carolina Panthers. And we know that even in our front office, there were real talks about continuously trying to upgrade that defensive line. I'm going to be honest. When you see a guy like Saquon Barkley coming off of his best performance, it really makes you pause about what he might be able to do against us.
I don't know if we buried our heads in the sand, Cody, is that we've been talking about how this defense was been built from back to front. And, people were worried about the Hassan Reddick, exit. I don't think he would have really helped in this situation, to be honest.
We were hoping that it wouldn't be as much of a problem as we feared that it might.
It looks like it could be problematic. It's like you can cover a lot of things up with a good pass rush half the time, right? But if you don't have a good pass rush in this league, and when I say pass rush, that means, obviously getting after the quarterback, but also just defensive fronts. You know what I'm saying? The ability to muscle up and man up and make big plays, whether it is in the run game, whether it's in pressuring them, is that when plays have the opportunity to go as they're designed, that's problematic, right? Is that like when the offense can run a play and it works like the way they drew it up on the board, that's a problem. And to disrupt that, it has to start with the defensive front, it feels like, in my mind. So, and the other thing is that if this is a passing league, and you're going to have teams pass against you and you're not getting to that quarterback, it doesn't matter who you're playing. They're going to look good. You give them enough time. And you go back and look at this defensive performance, guys. Look, I'm not ready. I'm done. No excuses being made. But like when you throw the ball out on offense and you don't convert it, your defense is out there a lot. So our defense went out there a lot. But our problem is our defense did not make any third down stops. It felt like none. And man, and it looks like they did convert 40. I think I had it pulled up earlier. They were only
38%,
only 44. They were 44%, I think, against us on third down. But like the idea, like you don't want to be up that high. Like you want to hold teams like I would think in like the 20 and 30% on third down. And it felt like every time, and this has been something with Carolina, and it was maybe just a continuation of last year's defense, is every time the Panthers needed to get off the field, they just didn't.
Right.
And then you go to this game, there's a lot of opportunities for you to get off the field and really slow the bleeding in this case, right? At the end of the second half, right? We kick it out of bounds. We give them good field position, but they converted like a 3rd and 12, a 3rd and 8, a 3rd and 4, like all in these crucial moments, it felt like. And the Panthers just couldn't get off in that opportunity. And then at the end, when you need to get a stop in the fourth quarter and you're up, like, you know what I'm saying? You got ahead. This is like we kicked the game-winning field goal. Too much time on the clock. The Panthers, again, and Baker Mayfield fumbling in that time, is that we were down there and it was 1st and 10 or whatever. I mean, like on first down, he fumbled it. And then Christian McCaffrey went into the muck on 2nd down. And then we got a little bit on 3rd. And then we kicked the field goal. It felt like once we got in field goal range, there was no intent to just score. And I know that you don't have to attack the end zone like too aggressively to maybe potentially throw the ball over, but at least run some plays that maybe get you a first down, grind that clock down even more, and then the bad luck on defense happens. Guys, let's talk about this. I didn't even notice it during the game. I was so upset. When we kicked that field goal, I was so exuberant. I was like, this is what's going to change. This is what Baker gives us, an opportunity to win, which I do stand by that. I think he's going to be a significant upgrade in just the it factor. In this case, fumbling it everywhere. But man, we're going to win this sucker. And then I look at the clock. Somebody goes, "Oh, you're going to walk out right now?" I was like, "Yeah, I got to go do my post-game show." I was like feeling, and then I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "Oh, you know what? They are probably going to win." And what do you know? That roughing the passer call, once that happened, I was like, it's done. Done. And I didn't even really pay attention to the snap thing. But this has dominated the conversation since, or at least for many Panther fans, since the game. Cody, tell us what happens and what I wasn't even paying attention to, frankly, at the end of that game.
So there's really 2 things to talk about here. One, it is the ridiculous roughing the passer call that Brian Burns got at the end of the game. He literally walks the right tackle right back into the face, or the left, pardon me, right back into the face of Brian Burns. And they called a roughing the passer penalty, saying that his arm hit his head. I think Greg was looking at it earlier today. It literally never happened. And by the way, it was one of Brian Burns' best moves of that entire game. Like, it was apt, it was timely, he did his job. He used that power and that 10 pounds of muscle that he put on, and they still gave him a BS roughing the passer call. But then on top of that, it's not just that one, but then we get to a point where Jacoby Brissett and them pull up, and then they end up doing a fake spike. Now, this is very against the rules. You're not allowed to do this. Apparently, Mike Florio was defending this on behalf of the Browns, saying that it was within the rules. Turns out it's not. So Mike Florio had to then walk back his original statements. End zone angle shows Jacoby Brissett executing a fake spike before the actual clock-killing spike. Matt Rhule was right. The Browns should have been penalized for the intentional grounding. What's even funnier about all of this is that if you go back to the original broadcast, they say it during the game. They tell you exactly what it is. They say it's a fake spike, and then he actually made the spike. Don't believe me? Listen for it.
There's no foul on the play. The player faked the spike and then threw the spike.
The player faked the spike and threw the spike.
He said there was no foul and then explained why it was a foul.
Exactly, dude. So look, man, I think Greg has a point. There might be a conspiracy here, dude. And I'll be honest, a lot of fans were mad at us in our post-game show. They felt like we didn't talk of this enough. And part of it is we're reacting in the moment. There's so much to break down. There's so many things that we want to say. But it was a big-time penalty. And there is a large portion of the Panther fan base that believes that the Panthers were robbed, that we were straight up robbed, that we did enough to come back and win that football game in more than one different way, and the referees just gift wrapped it to the Cleveland Browns.
Mm-hmm. So real quick, let me hop into both of those two, because that is, for me, what's been my emotion the last 2 days. Now, I went back and watched both of these plays numerous times, frame by frame, pausing it, taking screenshots, everything else. So I sent a screenshot in the chat. I don't know if you want to share it on here just because where I got it from, and I don't want to put things out here that are going to get us shut down. But just to show you, Cody, Brian Burns' arm, you're right, never touches Jacoby Brissett. However, his helmet does pop him very quickly. Maybe not too hard, but and I sent you the picture of it. His helmet does pop him right in the face mask, and that's why they called the roughing the passer. I don't think it was roughing the passer, but his helmet, and that's kind of a bad angle. But if you look at the angle from the end zone, you actually see the impact. Because I kept watching over and over, and I saw Jacoby Brissett's head get rocked back, but I couldn't figure out why, because Brian Burns' arm never touches him. And then as I kind of zoomed in and watched it frame by frame, he does make helmet-to-helmet contact with him. So I've got to concede that one. That technically was a roughing the passer.
No, that one's not roughing the passer because his helmet may have, but he didn't lower his helmet to initiate contact. His head
that's a fair point.
Up.
I can say that's true. I didn't see his head go down, but you're right. I mean, he made contact.
But anytime helmet and quarterbacks happen, you know that they could throw it. But you're right. They did change the rule this year too, where inadvertent hand swipes don't if you touch their helmet with your hand, and it's not meant to be a move. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like some defensive attack, just inadvertently that you don't get the penalty. But then this fake snap mumbo jumbo.
That's the big one right there, because like Cody says, he says it, and this is the big tweet that I put out, and I didn't delete it, and I felt bad because I cussed a little bit, and I was kind of talking a little shit, which is fine. I got more generation out of this tweet than I really ever do when I put anything out there, because I don't tweet a lot, you know? And that's what kind of made me feel bad. I'm putting negative stuff out there, and people are just loving it. And I was like, I don't want to be that negative guy.
Welcome to the internet, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what Twitter's for.
But look, the referee specifically says, like you said, he faked it, and then he snapped, and he did the fake snap, or did the actual snap, or excuse me, spiked the ball.
Spike.
Literally in the rule book, it says those exact words, and it's the reason that it's a rule is because it's wrong to do that. So either the referee doesn't know his job, which is likely, or something's afoot.
Is it illegal kind of like because of the Kenny Pickett play in college where he fake slid and then
I think it's been
like,
illegal
we're not going to tackle,
then.
and then they go for it. So you could fake the snap and then let the defense stand up and then bootleg out for a touchdown or something.
Well,
I think it goes back to the Brett Favre days, to be truly honest with you, because Brett Favre used to do that, and now you can snap it and step back and not take a knee, but as far as a spike goes, you can't do that, because I think Brett Favre used to do that, or I don't know, maybe. But
you can also clearly see why it's against the rules.
Right.
If I fake the spike and then someone ends up jumping, and let's say I see that it's a fake spike, then I jump and then they spike it, it's a penalty. It's a BS penalty, offsides 100%. waiting to happen. So you cannot do that. And sure enough, they did. And this goes back to a debate that I've heard on the internet for a long time. The referees are part-time employees. They are not full-time employees by the NFL. And you would think a multi-billion-dollar organization like the NFL, with so much different money involved, and now there's sports gambling involved, you think that they would go the extra way and pay the extra money to make sure that they have the most knowledgeable referees in the world, especially with a game as nuanced and complex as NFL football.
I don't think you can unionize as part-time employees, and maybe that's one of the reasons why they keep them like that. Could you imagine if there was a referee union and just to say there is corruption with
Yeah.
it. If there's a referee union,
I think you hit the
some
nail
of
on the
that would
head,
stop,
Greg.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
just saying that's one of the maybe. So
By the way, CK, we need your
Mhm.
services, my brother, because we have a brand new member of the Sweet Fan Club.
I would like to personally welcome UAU Link. Australian Link, maybe? I don't know. But welcome in to the C3 Super Fan Club. You are greatly appreciated, my friend.
Awesome.
Welcome to the club. Look, we need everybody to go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. 195 people watching right now. So let's get those thumbs up button, subs up, and let's get your calls in at 252-228-5098. Let's hear what Matt Rhule had to say after this loss, because right now is like what I think the conversation, and we're going to kind of talk about this as we go into the Giants game, and as also we start previewing the Giants throughout the week and debating about it and stuff like that, is the question is this loss an unfortunate loss for the Carolina Panthers, right? And like a lost opportunity or missed opportunity, to use the Ron Rivera words, and really just one game in a long season? Or is this loss emblematic of deeper problems and more systemic problems? And that's really going to be the fear that lives in Carolina Panther fans' hearts until it doesn't, right? Is right now is until there is significant evidence that the Panthers are better, we have to not assume that this is a bad thing, to be honest. Matt Rhule was asked about what he thought about this team after getting to watch the tape, and you heard what we thought. So let's hear what Matt Rhule had to say.
I think probably the feeling around the building, the feeling that I had when I watched the tape was we're obviously disappointed, but we're not discouraged. There's so many places where we're so much better than we were last year. Despite the fact that we played probably about as poorly as you can play on offense in the first half. We lost the turnover battle. We lost the third down battle. We lost the line of scrimmage. We lost the rushing battle. We lost the protection battle. And we still at the end had a chance to win, So
I feel like he's that ref.
I like the team's fight and grit. I like the way they put it together in the fourth quarter. I thought the offense, one of the things, I told the team, going into the game was, hey, I hope we come out clicking right away on offense. But the reality is, sorry, it's always so loud here.
All right.
Yeah, what the hell was that? That's so awkward that there was like some crazy
like a
noise
train
going on.
It was like a
in
train.
the back.
Yeah.
Like he literally stopped for almost 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So wait for this damn sound to go away. It was so weird.
He was worried that freight train was coming to crush him right there. So what Matt Rhule says this about the first thing he says is there's so many things we're better at as a team, and then he listed how bad we were as a team. Like you lost the turnover battle, you lost the defensive battle, you lost the trenches, you lost the yardage battle, you lost everything. It goes, but we almost won it. What are we better at as a team is what I'm asking. And I really surprisingly think it's like really just Baker Mayfield, to be honest.
I think that me personally, I do believe after watching that, I think our offensive line got better as the game went on. So I do think that there is something to be said about that. I think that our quarterback play is better. But I think personally I said it in the post game, and I think we saw it. I as much as they don't want to talk about, they said that they just executed the game plan there towards the end. I think they changed their game plan, and that's something that we haven't seen. We haven't seen this team come back, and I might be losing you guys, so my internet's doing its thing, but we haven't seen a team come out of halftime and change the game plan in a way that's going to positively affect the outcome of the game. That this looked like it was going to be a lot worse than it did. I think there was plenty enough to be optimistic about moving forward. I don't think that this is nearly bad enough for us to be feeling like this is going to be an 0-17 team, which I'm not sure many people believe that to be the case.
What if
I
we
don't
would have
think
played a better team, though? What if we
well,
would have
but that's
played a
that's
little better
that's
team?
that's
all
kind of what
around
we're
a bad
asking,
team.
right? Like that's kind of what we're asking. Like, did the Panthers lose a very close game to a good football team? Like,
Right.
we're all kind of it. We all shitting on the Browns, but look, there is a reason why that organization thought they were one quarterback away. Say what you will about Deshaun and all his crazy escapades. Like, they believe that they have a very good roster and that Baker Mayfield wasn't getting it done with that roster. So if you look at those things, they do have a good defense. They do have a good defensive line. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, their middle linebacker, is a really good football player, and he was shooting the gaps really well uh, against our offense. And then something that Matt Rhule was asked about in one of those press conferences, um, it was about the quarterback competition. And I forget if it was
Yeah.
Joe Person who said, "Did you think that maybe your offense wasn't quite?" And I'm paraphrasing here, but do you think that maybe your offense wasn't quite able to follow rhythm because you went through this quarterback competition? And he basically said no. He said that this is something that had to happen for the team, and and this is something that Baker and Sam both needed to go to. The problem is, I don't really care what Matt Rhule says, guys. I'm a firm believer that Matt Rhule, every step of the way, has put the Carolina Panthers one step behind everyone else because of how he implements all these fake different competitions on our football team throughout the preseason. I do think that it is rearing its ugly head now when you see some of the, like, look at that first half. All of those batted passes, every single play, like, you completely go away from running the football. There was no cohesion, and I'm sorry if that's on Matt Rhule and Ben McAdoo, then I don't know who is.
Let's go ahead and bring up clip 2 where we talk about this offense, because this is where we're about to go to our prize picks and do that segment and start looking through what we need to face coming up this week. But for all the talk about the Panthers being a running team last year, I told you that, hey, you know what's been consistent from year to year is Matt Rhule's flip-floppiness. To blow in the winds from whatever it is. I told you guys I was suspect about that. I thought that running football team was just talk. I didn't think he really bought into it. I think that the hiring of Ben McAdoo clearly shows that. And then the real question mark comes up is that Christian McCaffrey had 10 carries in this game. He had only his 4th touch by the end of the second quarter, it felt like. And really, I'm probably 7 out of 10 of those carries probably came in the second half, to be honest, or on the goal line at that case. Let's hear what Matt Rhule had to say about this team's offensive philosophy going through week 1.
I think probably the feeling around the building, the feeling that I had when I watched the tape was we're obviously disappointed, but we're not discouraged. There's so many.
Oh, this is clip. This is clip 1, I think.
Yeah, this is the same clip. Did you send me?
Is it the same clip?
It might be. Hang on.
Uh-oh. Production error on Tony's part if I sent the same clip twice. So the idea, really what comes out is the Panthers just were so pass heavy in this game, right?
Yeah. Okay, I got it. I got the original.
All right, let's see what Matt Rhule had to say about this the high volume of passes.
You have to be able to throw the football. I mean, if you want to win Super Bowls and win, I mean, some teams can win right now by running the ball, and but the teams that win down the stretch and win in the playoffs are the teams that can throw the football. And so we kind of have gone with that mindset. Now we have Christian McCaffrey. We want to run the football. Don't get me wrong. We want to be balanced, but we're also going to run it when it's there. We're not going to hit our head against the wall. I think last year you heard me lots of times trying to react to the situation we were in and say, like, hey, our best chance with our defense is to slow the game down and run the football. I feel like our offensive line has significantly improved. We have guys who can make plays. Two of the more explosive passing plays happened. Robbie on the deep ball and Ian on the whatever that was. But it wasn't consistent enough. And so no matter what you do, your run team, but if you're not executing at a high level, it's going to look like, hey, what's their identity? Because you're kind of grabbing and stuff. I just told the guys today, We play with great effort and execute. We didn't always execute on offense or defense or special team level.
All right. So there's Matt Rhule really backtracking from everything he said last year. And you
He
know what,
really
to be
makes
honest,
me angry.
yeah, to be honest, I get his point here, and I agree. Is that like it feels like you're passing the ball a lot, and that's your philosophy when you come out and you try to pass it on the first down, then you get yourself in a bad situation. It's kind of like, you know, you kind of stumble into this passing, and then if none of them go right, you don't get another drive to start to balance it out, and then you come back and you're behind, you know. So it can you can get away from it, but where I don't agree, or at least where it concerns me about this, is like last year we were better built to be a running team, and this year we're better built not to be. And we have Christian McCaffrey this year. We have a better offensive line. And at the end of the day, we just didn't try to run the ball at all in really any part of this game.
Right.
And I don't even need some kind of massive commitment to it. It just was clear Christian McCaffrey, even after he made a good play, they're bringing in Dante Foreman. And he's not even back out there. The misuse of Christian McCaffrey was just, or the lack of use. I just don't know what was going on. Even in that, and they were like, oh, well, he was supposed to be looking for Christian. He was doing, I didn't feel that at all. So flip-flopping in this, man. Matt Rhule is going to be a punchable face until he isn't.
He lifts his finger, puts it in the air, checks what way the wind is blowing, and that's what the Panthers are going to do, baby. And I'm telling you, this man has no vision. This man says all the good things. He says all the things that rah, and we're going to do this, and we're not going to beat ourselves, and all these different idioms and different things. Right. But at the end of the day, he really has no cohesive vision for what he wants the Panthers to be. And I listen, maybe this is just me. You can call me a Debbie Downer or pessimistic or whatever. I do not believe that this offense is going to be successful passing the football that much more than running it when we are so built to run it. Your first round pick, Ikwonu, you drafted him partly because of his ability in the run game. Get him moving upfield, let him be strong and physical and bully linebackers on the second level and get them out of Christian McCaffrey's way. The fact that we made those upgrades and now we are choosing to double down on being this West Coast style pass happy offense. Well, we didn't see any Laviska Shenault. We didn't see any Terrace Marshall Jr. Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore was barely existent most of that football game. So again, if they're behind the curve, they're painfully behind the curve. And if they're going to be a pass happy football team, then this Sunday against the Giants, they must have a markedly better performance throwing the football than this for us to have any faith that they're going to continue to do this down the road.
All right, guys, let me see if I can get this layout to work. I need the layout that has it so that this junk looks good. What do we got to do, Cody, to get you guys? There we go.
That's it.
Thank you. Look, is this week, well, don't forget the show is also sponsored by PrizePicks. And PrizePicks is your daily fantasy sports play that you need to go and have fun with. Promo code C3 gets you 100% deposit bonus. And you can go there and make picks on individual players. And you you pair these picks together. And you have an opportunity to win 3, 4, 5, even 10 times your money. And it's things that we're going to get right. Tough week for the C3 Panthers podcast when it came to PrizePicks here, guys. We'll go to this and you know what? To be honest, I'm not even mad about it. I don't think the picks were problematic. I think that some of the way that the game turned out, right, and all of this just makes less sense. I put in a late one yesterday for a 2-pick. Should have won this one. Russell Wilson couldn't get a second touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Come on, man. That should have been easy money. Really, the scary one was Mac Jones under. And if it wouldn't have been for a pass interference or a missed call on a pass. And like he could have crested that. Here we go. Another one I thought last week that turned out to be what I felt like is a solid play here. Nick Chubb, we talked about, would he get over 15 and a half carries or more, should I say, than 15 and a half carries? He got 22, and Christian McCaffrey could not even touch the rushing yards, which some people said you can go ahead and put that in the bank. Only 33 yards rushing. Matt Rhule did mention that when the fumbled snap that Christian McCaffrey picked up and then pulled off like 30 yards did not count towards his rushing stats because it was a fumbled recovery.
Yeah.
So that right there could have been the power play you wanted. And then this one right here, guys, if we go here, Baker Mayfield didn't make the 19 and a half pass completions. I still think in a game that was any cleaner, that just was not as ugly as this, not a terrible look. Christian McCaffrey didn't even come close on the receiving yards. That's the funny part. Even if you're going to pass it a lot, why is Christian McCaffrey not more of that? And is this true? Tom Brady only had 44 yards passing and they blew out the Dallas Cowboys?
I was watching House of the Dragon, so I kind of missed most of that game. But yeah, it got out of hand. And Dak is hurt for like 11, like or 8 or 9 weeks or something like that. Yeah, apparently it wasn't a big game.
All right, so let's use PrizePicks as we are each and every week. Don't forget the promo code C3, simple one, the C3 podcast. Just put C3 and gets you 100% deposit bonus. And go out there, folks, and let's put some coin in the bank. And we're going to put some coin in the bank this week because we're going to make up some ground when it comes to these picks here. But we're also going to use this as a kind of a springboard into conversation of what the matchup is going to look like. The Carolina Panthers head to New York, where last year they were just decimated last year against the New York Giants. And the Panthers offense didn't even put up 150 yards total, 177 yards total, right? Look, Easy Crepe says, I won 2 of these using the promo this week, right? That's great to hear, man. So go in there and support our sponsors, and they will continue to support us. It's a kind of a cool way for everybody to win here. Baker Mayfield, more or less than 215 and a half passing yards. His fantasy score. Now, we got to look into this, how they calculate fantasy scores, because every league I feel like is different when it comes to fantasy scores. So you got to look at that, what that is. Christian McCaffrey's rushing yards goes down 10 yards after the poor performance or lack of performance. And fantasy score 23. What are the numbers that stand out to you here? If I'm going to pick one, I like Robbie Anderson over 36 and more than 36 and a half yards. That's like the one I would jump on.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
What's the 6.5 up there? Scroll up a little bit.
Is that the fantasy? Oh, that is the defensive special teams here. So if we, again, how do you calculate that?
That's true. How do they calculate?
You know, I don't know.
You can click on the 3 bars up there. You see the little bars in the top left corner, and it shows you how it calculates it. Oh, well, it shows you how the score's calculated after it's done, I guess. So go to a defense from last week, or if anybody picked a defense from last week, I'm not sure. That'd be the only way to find that out, I think.
Okay. All right. Is Carolina's going on? Do you think does Baker Mayfield have a bounce back game? What did he put up this year? 230 this week, last week, 235.
Yeah.
So here is that this is a solid number, right? I mean, this is something that's achievable if you have any semblance of a decent game at quarterback. And at the rate we were trying to move the ball around, you got to think Ben McAdoo wants to kind of go back home and spoil the Giants' day, I'm sure. Baker Mayfield, what numbers stick out to you here? Do you like more or less on Baker Mayfield?
That's right on. Good.
What all I was going to say is that, now looking at the Browns game, I think every defensive coordinator is going to be telling their team to get their hands up at the line of scrimmage. If you don't get home on your rush, get your hands up impede his throwing lane. So that one's tough. Man. I went through and looked at the post game highlights from just about every game. The defense didn't really stand out too much for me for the Giants, but at this point, I just really don't trust that kind of yardage for Baker Mayfield. I don't know. It just it doesn't sit right with me.
Hey, I don't know if you knew this either. With those little bars on the top there, it'll show you like how they break down the score. But if you click it again, it'll show you how many times in the last 5 games he's hit that average. Like you see the bars right there. So he's hit 215 times, 2 times out of the last 5 games. So if you want to go a little deeper when you make these picks, that's a good way to look at it.
Oh, that is a good one right here.
Yeah,
So that's going
fine,
back to his
Greg.
days. I think this, if I'm making this play right here, which we might make it, we don't have to make this one right here. I'm going more CK. I mean, I just like it really seems like this is that the Carolina, like if it's less than that, we're going to be coming on the show upset.
Yeah, I think he's angry too. I think he's good angry, and I mean,
think if he would have just not fumbled it 5 times. If he would have not fumbled it 5 more times, he probably would have had 80 more yards.
It's very possible. Yeah.
So, CK, did you have something you wanted to jump in on?
I mean, no. I mean, I was just saying, like, his question was, do I think that he's got the over here? I think that Baker Mayfield's coming back and he will have the over. And that's not me just being a homer. I think so many people are going to look at this and think that, we're just being homers if we believe that he's going to go over. But I mean, we have nothing to indicate we're going up against a defense that's miraculous, that's going to be able to stop, the passing attack. And I think we're going to get more. I think we're going to get more of our wide receivers involved this week. The fact that Terrace Marshall saw 0 offensive snaps, along with Higgins, along with Chenault. I mean, I think they're going to make an effort to try to spread that around. I don't know if this. I know we only played 50 offensive snaps compared to like 80 defensive snaps, but when you have your 1 and 2 wide receivers at 100% of the offensive snaps, that seems a bit crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I really think this is, look, they got Daniel Jones at 210, and he looked like garb. He looked worse. He looks horrendous right here. So I just have to feel like is that I'm sure, like I understand it's not the most confident bet right here or play, but I would say that Baker Mayfield it was like hard for him to do worse than he did in last week. Right?
Yeah, but
I mean,
I wonder
honestly,
if the criticism, like Matt Rhule even said in one of the press conferences, in hindsight, maybe we should have ran the ball a little more earlier. I think when Christian McCaffrey more than 55.5, I like that. And to be honest with you, a stat that you were looking at that I also like, just based on what we've seen, they had Saquon Barkley at 70 plus.
70.
I like that too. I'm gonna be real with you right now. And I hate that we're saying this so early on, man. But right now, why should we have faith that our defense is going to be able to stop the run? Like, they were bullying us. They have a first round pick at left tackle and right tackle, and Saquon Barkley's back to being healthy. And it's like you said, Tony, Daniel Jones is not it. That dude is not a good quarterback. So now that they have Saquon doing this, and that the Carolina run defense isn't up to snuff, to me, that's a pretty damn safe one.
I agree with you. I think that's a safe one too, because I think we're going to give up that many yards. But if I'm not mistaken, didn't the Giants beat the shit out of us last year without Saquon Barkley?
No, they did beat the crap out of us, but they were horrible too.
That's what I'm saying. They were horrible,
they
and
beat the crap out of us, and they were still bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, they didn't even play well in the game, and they still beat us.
Okay, we beat ourselves in that one.
So here is. Do you guys?
Do they have carries for Saquon?
No, not yet.
That 20 fantasy points looks good for Saquon too. I'd be willing to bet. I mean, if he gets 70 yards and rushing and 40 yards carrying 1 touchdown, he's going to get 20 fantasy points.
Yeah.
So it's your account. If you want to go more with Baker Mayfield on that entry, with more on Christian McCaffrey. And
I would
you're
say
you're a
this
more
is
kind of guy, huh?
I think so. I mean, I don't know. Is this would probably? I'm trying to figure out which one do you would we feel the least confident in
Out of those three,
out of these three? Because here, I
Baker
think Christian
Mayfield.
McCaffrey is going to have a makeup. You know, there's going to be a correction, right? And so it went from we thought he was going to easily have more, and when he had 67 yards or 65 yards last week was the number to hit. This week it went down 10. I think you're getting value here with that Christian McCaffrey because they have to push the number down because of the performance last week. And the Panthers have to push it up because of the performance last week. So I think these two I'm confident with. The question is, do they go away from Robbie and more to DJ? Do they diversify more in this? I would say I still think 36. Well, I mean, that's a 5-catch game.
Catches. Yeah, not even a 5-catch game. You can catch that in 2 catches, really. I mean,
and then to be honest, I just don't. We got to make at least one pick from another team, right? So I think we could go here. And you guys said, see, I think 70.5. You think like basically the Panthers just can't stop the run. Doesn't matter.
I think that's a pretty safe bet, to be honest.
Am I wrong?
And I mean,
am I wrong in thinking that?
So it's just more here. Oh my gosh.
The only thing I like better about the fantasy point thing is it encompasses everything. It encompasses touchdown points. It encompasses catches, receptions, like yards, receiving, everything else. So I feel like it may be you can not get to 70 rushing yards and still score 20 fantasy points.
All right. So here's what we can do. We could either go with the flex play here. And if we get 3 correct, we would get like 12. If we get 4 correct, we get 25, or we go 4, which I like. I like going big.
I like going all the way.
Yeah,
here. Power play it. How do we feel about this entries right here? Anyone that you would take off?
Can we see what Robbie's averages are his last 5 games to see if he's hit that 36 or hit click? Because I think he has.
Last week he hit it on one play.
I think his average that's going to be skewed by last week's. Because I don't think he did very well at the beginning of the end of last year.
Okay.
But again, you got to keep in mind what we were dealing with at the end of last year.
But also remember, if we're thinking there's a course correction for Christian McCaffrey, what Baker threw for 230 something yards. So if you're taking a little bit away from Baker and adding to McCaffrey, I don't know if I would put more on that Baker Mayfield stat. But I'm also saying on the Baker Mayfield stat, like even if Robbie gets to that, I don't think 212. I mean, that's not nothing. It's not 100 yards, but it's not nothing either. But ultimately, it's up to you, Tone.
Yeah, I like this. This is what I'm going. And the one I'm most worried about is Saquon having another big game. I feel like the Panthers are going to overcommit to the run, and then the Giants are going to try to do something different. So if
you don't feel like it's good, man, go with your.
Why? This is our account. It's not my account. This is our account. This is the
I thought we were trying to beat each other from the free for all and the.
We're trying to beat the free for all, and the free for all is trying to beat us. You got to be an equal player on both.
Yeah. So
chat. How about this? You guys go ahead and settle it. I mean, you know what? It's all right. Like until the Panthers stop the run, we're not going against it, right? So I like it here. Let's do one other. Let's do one other look around the NFL and just see if anything sticks out to you guys. Anything from this is an interesting one. Interceptions. Do Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes throw an interception? Let's see what just the general board is here. Look at this. Justin Herbert is not going to have Keenan Allen though.
Yeah.
Trying to think of you guys see any value here. Jameis Winston versus Tampa Bay. That Tampa Bay defense problematic.
Yeah. I'll tell you one I've got that's kind of off the wall is I've got one in for Austin Eckler gets more than 52 rushing yards. Yeah. And Sky Moore from Kansas City gets more than 7.5 receiving yards. I feel
You
like
could almost
any Kansas City wide receiver is going to get more than 7.5 receiving yards.
okay.
You know, I
So
feel like it's a
let's
pretty
see.
safe bet.
Yeah, let's kind of
They
just
pass
go
it
look
around well, and he throws for like 500 yards a game. So
Eckler, third. I think they play in Kansas City. Let's see any value. Mike Williams, 70. He's going to be busy in that game.
yeah, with no
Travis Kelce, 80.5. That's tough. Juju.
Kelsey's like the centerpiece of their offense. I can see
Yeah.
him going more than that. And
Yeah,
see, okay,
definitely.
I think he's
on
averaged
the,
way more than
I
that.
know
yeah.
on the what was DJ Moore at right there? It was at 57 and a half?
57.5. Still, like, I think that Robbie Anderson plays easier, you know, just because it's like Waddle, 55.5. What did any games stick out to you guys? Oh, look at old Curtis Samuel. He was showing up in the Commanders game.
Yep.
I just wonder, were there any games that stuck out to you guys? Pitts is hurt. You gotta worry about that.
What about that cup at 100? Would y'all feel safer going under 100?
Last week he had it no problem,
Mhm.
Brian.
And he's amazing, but I mean, law of averages. He's got to not get 100 at some point in time, right? He can't put up over 100 yards every game. Well, I guess
I just don't feel like I want to go against him right now.
Mike Williams. So I like if you want to get in on the Thursday night football actions, I like Mike Williams. I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Whenever they want to go intermediate, they do like to get the Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And dude, Jay Herb is the man, dude. Like, you know what I think of that guy. Like that dude, and he was already passing it around.
I think this is going to be a game like Buffalo last year, where both quarterbacks are going to throw 50 times. So there's a good chance 25 completions.
I think so too.
I like that. And let's see. What about interceptions? They only got it for 2. Do you think anybody throws a pick in this game?
Yeah, I would say Mahomes. The Chargers have a revamped defensive backcourt. They got Asante Samuel Jr., they got C. Jackson, they got Derwin James. I know you like him a lot, Tony. So I could very easily see an aggressive Patrick Mahomes throw at least one INT.
What was the Kansas City receiver?
Sky
Moore.
Yeah, Sky Moore. It's only 7.5 yards. He's a rookie, I believe.
Did he not show up?
Put the Chiefs.
It's SKYY. I would type that in, see if it brings anything up. Or Chiefs is a good way to do it too.
Kelce, 18 points. I think he gets that. Juju, 6.
He looked good, man. He was
receptions.
What did he have last week? That's for yards. Hold on. Where'd it go?
You talking about Sky?
I wanted to see this one. I want to see how many receptions he had. He had 6 receptions, 5. All right, so he barely. That's like he'd have to have the game he had last week.
But they pass it around a lot in Kansas City. Is
he not up there? Look,
I don't see why he's not up there. He's on my thing.
Must be missing him. Anything else here that we like? McKinnon, receiving yards. Ooh, running back here. Only 27. This is tough. Now I'm shell shocked.
That averages thing makes it crazy, isn't it? Because you look at it and you're like, "Ooh, if you had a good idea," you look at it and you're like, "Oh, he hadn't hit it, but once in the last 5 games."
I'm shell shocked here. Is I wonder what passing TDs. Ooh, rushing yards. Let's see.
Chiefs defense 4.5 fantasy points. That's a good one right there.
So,
you don't need much to score 4.5.
Kept bringing it to my attention, White Chocolate, that Zane Gonzalez, his projected fantasy score is 7.5. You can click less on that, and that would be a good bet.
Yes.
Why is Zane Gonzalez not playing?
Yeah, he's not playing for an extended. Is he on IR officially?
That is a good one.
Is that legit though?
Boom.
There you go.
Kevin,
I wonder if that goes to the active kicker, though. I wonder if that's like I know I don't know. Yeah, you're right.
That's
Done.
pretty tough.
Thank you. That's the play of the week, folks. Everybody, listen. White chocolate espresso. Thank you for the play of the week. You want to talk about the free square right here, the free entry. He found it. PrizePicks. Go to PrizePicks, download, play your daily fantasy sports app, get paid. It's safe. It's so easy. Use the promo code C3. And you get 100% deposit bonus. You got to play multiple picks from multiple teams. 2's the minimum, right? But you make two entries, you pick the right more or less, and you get 3 times your money. You do 4, you get more. 5, you get more. You saw us play it. It's that simple. I can't tell you how many people hit me up happy about this. I think we're on to something here. Zane Gonzalez, 7.5 fantasy score. He's not even on the active roster. Eddie Pinero is the guy that they're going with, right? Has anybody heard anything about Zane Gonzalez? I almost want to edit my 4 picks, every one of my picks, and just add him to it, because if they won,
Can you
I
edit
wonder,
them? Is it too late to
let's
edit
see.
once you do
Let's
You
submit?
see if
can't
we
once
could
you
do
once you
this.
submit it, you can't edit it.
Yeah.
It sucks. I know, because I've gone back and wanted to change something, but you can't edit it once you submitted it.
Well, yeah,
That's
because
a
they
big-
want you to get it before something changes.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Is that like, because if something changes and then but here, this is the play, folks. What you need to go is PrizePicks. Use the promo code C3. You get 100% deposit bonus. And basically, my bastard son just gave you a free play like they gave you Tom Brady last week. We did it. Breaking here. Thank you so much. That's our PrizePicks segment as we go forward. Guys,
Get it before they figure it out.
I know, is like that's right. Get it before they figure it out. PrizePicks, your way to play daily fantasy sports. Use the promo code C3. All right, what do we got up next? We need to get into some calls, maybe.
Yeah,
You're muted, Cody.
Yep, that would work. So, but before we do that, listen, if you're a longtime fan of this podcast, you know that you come here for the Panthers football, but at the end of the day, you're staying for one thing and one thing only. You're here to get shamed. CK, talk to your people, big papa.
Well, good evening. It is currently after 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You've tuned in for the past hour to just talk about the Carolina Panthers, to chat about them, to hear us chat about them, to potentially put some money down on PrizePicks. You're a little down in the dumps. The Panthers didn't show out the way you were hoping they did against the Browns. But there's a lot of hope. And some of you people are absolutely pessimistic and are going to say to you, because you haven't hit that thumbs up button yet, subscriber shame.
Subscriber shame, 153 viewers, 106 likes. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell every single time we go live to take that algorithm by the head, put them in a noogie, and then shove them in the locker like you're the high school bully that you know you are. Do it to the YouTube algorithm, do it for the C3 Panthers podcast, and help us get in front of as many eyes as possible. Tony Dunn, are you ready to jump into some cat calls?
Let's do it.
And nothing to it but to do it. Let's roll.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
What's good, C3 family? Yo, listen, this is Slim Jim. I come up calling from California, man. Hey, dog. Listen,
Slim
man.
Jim, what's up?
I'm so disappointed in Matt Rhule and his coaching staff. I'm so fucking disappointed. This is ridiculous. Like, our defense could not stop a soul, man. Dude, we could not stop a fucking soul. And they ran right through us, man. And these coaching staff, they knew what was going to happen for weeks ahead of time. They could not stop a fucking nosebleed. They couldn't do it. And this is ridiculous, man. We're about to set ourselves up again for some more disappointment. We're about to fucking go through this whole bullshit again. We think our defense is better than what it is. It's not. We are who we are. And today showed us who we are. But yo, man, let me know what you guys think, man. Should Matt Rhule just get fired ASAP? Like, should we just fucking burn this bitch down and start fresh? Let me know what you guys think, man. But as a longtime Panther fan, man, I'm done with this shit, dog. This shit is brutal, man. So I'm done with it, man. But I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say. But yeah, man, this is some Jim calling from the West Coast, the best coast. But you guys be easy, man.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Pounds keep pounding.
here we go. Next call.
Fuck the pounds keep pounding.
Oh.
Who was that? Who was that? I don't even know if you know who that was. That was awesome.
We got fans already talking about firing Matt Rhule, calling them F them clowns, maybe keep pounding or something to that effect. I really think this is what's really. I hurt my back over the weekend, like last week, and it just got like worse last night. Like I could barely walk today, almost. Like I'm sitting here, I got a heating pad right behind me right now, and like and I hope it's not just me not feeling great. It's like this, but gosh, I went from so enthusiastic just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and it's like, man, it just got like hit in the face with a wet, warm blanket, you know what I'm saying, draped over me already. And I hope that feeling does not continue, right? The number is 252-228-5098. Let's go to the next call.
What's up, C3 family? This is Slim Jim calling from the West Coast, from the West Coast.
Is this the same call?
Hey, man, listen,
We already heard that.
I take back what I said, kind of.
Oh, no,
it's a different one. It's got a different timestamp.
Man, we're so bad. And Derrick Brown is a fucking bust. I honestly, I thought about it, and we're so bad, nothing makes sense, and Derrick Brown is the bust. There's no way around it. There's no way past it. He does nothing. And our D-line is so trash, man. Everyone is going to run right through Carolina. They're going to run right through them. It's ridiculous. And Derrick Brown, I mean, I hate to say it, but he's going to be the bust because, yo, man, you were drafted top 10 to fucking do what you got to do to fucking stop a run, but you can't. You can't stop a cold, bro. You can't stop a nose. You can't stop a running nose. Like, it's terrible. They did nothing. The D-line did nothing today. And everyone's going to fucking watch the film and going to be like, all right, man, look, we're going to do the exact same thing the Cleveland Browns did. It's going to be the exact same recipe, and it's going to be the exact same situation as last year, man. We're in for the long haul. We're in for the fucking this bullshit. Matt Rhule's going to get fired. Hopefully he gets fired by week 6. That's all I'm hoping for. All right. Checking out, man. Y'all take care.
So, Tony, there was a clarification on your on White Chocolate's brilliant move on PrizePicks. Entries with the DNP did not play revert down to the next closest entry. So if it was your 4th pick power, it goes to a 3rd pick power. 3rd, 2nd.
What if it's a 2nd pick power and you have to play 2 picks though? They cancel your entry.
Then it says a refund.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll test all this out. Dang it! Why do they even have it then for a guy that's not?
Hey,
even
but
on the
now
roster?
give credit to White Chocolate. Now you have to give him the blame. Damn you, White Chocolate!
Dang it! Dang it! All right, let's go to the
Bastard
next
son.
call. Oh, actually, I want to ask you guys this: is Derrick Brown a bust?
No, not yet.
I mean, it's not a bust, but I don't think at this point it's unfair to say I want more. And I do want more. And I think a lot of fans want more. A lot of people are already kind of looking at the numbers and defending him and stuff. And yeah, he ate a lot of double teams. But I don't know. I just felt like there are times when we need Derrick Brown to shine, and he just doesn't and hasn't. So, I mean, again, I never had super high expectations for Derrick Brown because he's a run stuffing defensive tackle. So I always knew that he wasn't going to have crazy high pass rate numbers or numbers and sacks. That's not what he's meant to do.
Well, it's really though is that they had 217 rushing yards though. I mean, I think that's the thing is I think
That's
people
why
are
I'm
now to
underwhelmed.
the point where it's like even the people who are ready to temper that discussion because he's not the player that's meant to wow you statistically and this and that is that we don't feel a lot of pressure being generated up the middle. And whether that's the Ioannidis dude beside him or whatever it was happening, you just didn't feel like they were disruptive. And he's supposed to help the unit be disruptive, not him necessarily be disruptive. But at the end of the day, is that the run game, the inability to stop the run. And it kind of just harkens back to like, well, if this guy was meant to help us so much here, why are they not better? I think, though, that I think it's just easy to pick on Derrick Brown right now. Now, I did see him getting muscled around. I got to go and like really watch it closely, see what I think is just if one or two plays are emblematic of his performance or if he was just gassed at that point because he's the only guy playing out there in the middle, it seems like. But, is that the fact of the matter is the Panthers' run defense isn't good. And whether or not Derrick Brown is a bust or isn't is like they need to be better against the run. But we also had 17 missed tackles, right, in this game. So the Panthers, like CK was saying, they were there in some cases.
Yeah.
It just wasn't making the play happen. But at the same time, they also bounced a lot of stuff outside as well. And Nick Chubb would just be all of a sudden be like, up, and then he's running to the outside for 9 yards. So, man, it's tough to pick on one guy. But when the unit's not doing good, everybody deserves to get picked on.
I mean, it's prove it season. Like we said before, it's time to put up or shut up for everyone involved, man. And I even said that, especially given our history with guys like Vernon Butler. Y'all remember Vernon Butler? Like, that guy was supposed to be the next big thing for us, and never ended up to be anything. So I think he's better than that. But we need to see more, man. If we're going to stop the run, it starts with Derrick Brown.
Well, and it's a big difference too, right? Derrick Brown was picked in the top 10, whereas Vernon Butler was picked number 31 that year.
Yeah, true point.
So I mean, I'm not prepared to even put them in the same category there either. I think that Vernon Butler came into a defense that was pretty stout with some really savvy veterans. I mean, you got to keep in mind, I mean, this is a very young team, right? A very young defense. You're not going to have the same leadership you had. And I'm not going to blame it all on that, but I think there's something to be said about having good leadership on a defensive line when it comes to stuff like that,
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's go to the next call.
This is Chad down in Charleston, South Carolina. Just curious after the first game, what your thoughts are on the rest of the schedule. I thought all postseason or off season, and in addition to after the preseason, we probably should just blow it up this year. The defense isn't nearly as good as everybody thinks it is. Ikwonu got exposed first game. I think he'll get better, but he's a guard. He's not a tackle. Doesn't have the feet to be a tackle. Should have known that before we drafted him. I think we have some assets we could trade, maybe get some draft picks. I don't see more than 3 or 4 wins on the schedule.
Oh,
and I just think it's time to kind of go that way, draft a franchise quarterback and build it up from there. So did not see a whole lot against the Browns team with Jacoby Brissett starting to be encouraged about. I think the Giants, the Saints, the next 2 are losses. Cardinals, we may be able to pull out a win, although I wouldn't bet on it. Then you got Niners, Rams. Bucks. I mean, it's looking like a 1-6, 1-7 type start. And at that point, do you think about trading some of our assets to try to get draft picks? Just curious on your opinion. Thanks, guys. Love the show.
Oh, I am
Yeah, man.
not there, but guys, I am
I'm not
not
there
at
yet.
the burn it down stage. I think, hey, listen, if it all goes awry, like if by the trade deadline things are not, if you guys are not positive by that point that we are seeing a positive turnaround, then by all means go ahead and pull the trigger on the burn it all down. Right? We are not there yet. We are just not. I can't in good faith as a fan of this team. I cannot sit here and say let's go ahead and just pull the trigger on this season. We're one game in, and I mean the reality is there was plenty of positives. I think if you look at that game and you see nothing but negatives, it's confirmation bias. You were going into this year already looking for things to be horrendous, and if you
we're heading your head in the sand right now, CK. I tell you one thing is when I was crazy, I was listening to the Adam Gold Show, which is a Raleigh sports show around the midday show, and he has just come out and said flat out that Matt Rhule is just not a good coach. Like he's on that, and he's not really super controversial guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just like, but I felt like he's a guy with a big reach who is kind of in tune or at least closely monitors North Carolina sports. That's what he gets paid to do. It's Panthers and the Raleigh area of college football. And man, he's pretty resided that he thinks that Matt Rhule is in over his head and that he doesn't necessarily think that this game he was the fault of this game, which I don't think he was. It's like he just doesn't have any expectation for the Matt Rhule era, and that being likely the end of the season. One game in, Cody, and we got people that are already going, maybe that 10-3 or 10-7 look that we were talking about was just dumb. Because I tell you this is that the trade deadline is after week 8, though. And the Panthers don't have an easy, with losing this game, easy first 8 weeks. So if you're at 2-6, 1-7 at week 8, what do you really think you're going to get out of this season is the question. And I don't think we're there yet, but man, we don't have any reason to think that we were right either.
Well, I mean, here's the part that I'll say. I mean, and I guess the jury's still out on this guy, but Zach Taylor was in an identical situation. Nobody thought he was a coach for the NFL before this past year. Like, not a single person thought that he was going to be the guy. He has 2 horrendous seasons, by the time that they had their season last year. Again, you have Joey Burrow, and I'm not going to sit here and compare those 2 guys. You have Jamar Chase, makes it a little easier, but I mean, the same thing goes. I mean, if you have 3 bad years, 100%, the dude's gone. There is no reason to continue this experiment, right? Even if we're halfway through this year and it's bad, go ahead and cut bait, start moving forward, and hell, maybe one of these guys, Ben McAdoo, or any of these guys on the coaching staff are able to do a better job. Who knows? But right, again, we are so early in the season to be this down on our team. Like look what happened. The Packers looked way worse than we looked. Way worse than we looked. True. And if you look at the Bucks offense, they did not look very good at all.
Bad this week. I understand. Lots of teams look bad. Lots of teams lost in week 1, and they should not win. Necessarily, like you got to not worry about the season being over. Green Bay, but those teams have also had success in the recent years, right? So they're not on this 8 straight loss run that we are. And I think this is that I understand. I think I ultimately agree with you, CK, is like there's a lot of football left to be played. I think that Baker Mayfield gives us a better shot going forward than we had with Sam Darnold or even Teddy Bridgewater, honestly. And maybe I'm wrong on with Teddy Bridgewater until he actually does something in Carolina. Teddy Bridgewater is arguably the most successful one out of everybody.
5 wins.
What's that? Well,
5 wins. Yeah. I mean, we've had that for the last 2 years. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, 3 actually. It feels like, but The idea is like I think we upgraded the quarterback position from last year. I think Christian McCaffrey makes our offense, if we use him, better. I think the offensive line is improved and going to be improved. But until we see an actual results change on the field, we have no reason to believe that it's like now the question is what we're going to continue to search and ask for is, are we better and this was just a loss? Or was this a loss and we really aren't better?
Yeah. Well, kind of to your point you were talking about there a minute ago and circling back to the call a little bit, I'm right there with y'all. I don't think we're there. I think it's way too quick to overreact and say we're there yet. But just hypothetically say we are 1-7 around the trade deadline. You asked, what should we do? Should we pull the trigger? Are we even going to be able to? We're following 2 5-win seasons and then a 1-7 season. How much value do you think people are going to give us for the players that have been on those teams? Like, do we have enough other than maybe CMC, DJ Moore? Do we really have enough players that people are going to think are going to be worth valuable picks?
At that point, I don't even think it's necessary that you're just trying to offload players. You're trying to offload coaching staff. You're trying to salvage whatever talent you have, and as fast as you possibly can, get someone in the door so that way you can be ahead of the process. Like, this is where I said that they messed up with Ron Rivera. By firing Ron Rivera too late, they ended up being later into next season that they had to start their coaching hire and looking for who was going to be the next replacement coach. So it's too early genuinely to start saying to blow up the season. But let me tell you, it's hard to say that they're wrong for having that kind of an opinion, given the stat that's up on screen right now. The Panthers have the longest active losing streak in the NFL at 8 games. And how many years in a row are Panther fans going to buy the, glass half full mantra that it's going to get better? We just have to do a little bit better here and there, and we're going to be able to do it. It's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Fool you 70 times, shame on all of us. And that's what it feels like at some point. But, a lot of football to be played. Let's keep going with the calls. The number's 252-228-5098.
That was good, fellas. It's Corey calling in. I think it's been a minute since I called into the show. I didn't get on the post game yesterday, so this would be my respective post game analysis. Next Monday morning quarterback, I guess whatever you want to call it, man. But I don't know. We all saw it out there. It was not fun. It was not fun to watch at all up until the fourth quarter. And I'm not in the camp. I don't give a shit about no missed call. I don't care about a roughing passer penalty. I don't care about a fake spike. We played at like absolute dog shit for 75% of the game, and the Cleveland Browns, with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, beat us like handily. Like Jacoby Brissett. Like, we should have never even been in the position to leave it up to a fake spike or whatever to decide the game. Like, it shouldn't even been to that point. And I'm not saying that like we're some great world beater team, but like for us to, like, we're the same team we were last year, man. Like, we're the same exact team we were last year is what it looks like. And I'm blaming coaching. Like, I'm like, don't get me wrong, I'm putting 90% of the blame on the coaching. Like, Matt Rhule got to go. McAdoo didn't show us shit. Like, I didn't see not one aspect of the team yesterday that looked like they were out ready and like prepared to face this opponent that we knew we were going to face for the last 2+ months. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not in the camp. Like, I don't give a shit about Baker's fourth quarter performance. I don't care about his stats in the fourth quarter. He played bad, y'all. Like, and I understand the offensive line looks shitty, and Baker did all this before. Like, he didn't do anything in the fourth quarter that made me feel like somebody else couldn't do. And like, maybe I don't want to see the positive in it, but like, y'all, like, there was still plenty of throws where his feet were not set. He was backpedaling as he was throwing the ball. And this is like, not even to mention the offensive line being bad. Like, he was just doing it. Like, Shot Smith wide the fuck open over the middle. You overthrow him, throw it behind him, and it's right into the defender's hands. DJ Moore halfway through the second quarter got 1 target, probably got 0 targets, like almost in the first half. And it's just kind of like the stuff that you always see with Baker, like inconsistency. Like, yeah, he had a great fourth quarter. I don't care about that. I'm not giving him no brownie points or anybody like that. Like it was a lot going on, and I'm not in the moral victory club because we looked terrible for the first 75% of the game. It was almost inexcusable. Jacoby Brissett was ass the entire game. If there was a decent quarterback that was back there playing, we would have got blown out by 21. There was plenty of times where he missed the receiver. I might get.
That's the big fear. That's the big fear.
Well, this is the point, right? You know, and I think we were all in the same boat. Like, I think we all had the same mindset at the end of the game. Is like it shouldn't have come down to one quarter or one call or two bad calls in the final drive or whatever you may have, right? It shouldn't come down to that. But at the same time, if we had won that game, then somebody would say, well, it shouldn't have come, like the Browns fans would say, well, it shouldn't have come down to that. We destroyed them in the first half. The fact that it came down to the one play being the reason that we lost is actually, I think that's something to be positive about. Again, I'm not burying my head in the sand with this, guys. I mean, there is legit positives to be seen here. It's not like this isn't a 31-2 blowout. This wasn't a scenario where it could have been way worse than it was. We found a way to come back and make it a game. And the fact that it was a call from the refs tells me one thing, is that we're a much more improved team. If those calls were right, guess what? We'd probably win that game.
And then people have a totally different narrative.
Everybody's talking about how clutch Baker Mayfield is that he started slow. But listen, when it came down to the nitty gritty, the dude was able to get the ball into the end zone when he needed to. He was able to get the team moving the way he was supposed to. And let's be real, did we talk once about how this team didn't look like they had urgency in that final 4 minutes of the game?
No, not yet.
No, that was a common thing last year. Like it felt like we were just dragging our feet every time. It felt like Baker had an honest control over this offense. Am I of the mind that he is going to like be the guy? I don't know. But I'm saying right now, to say that he isn't capable of it is just, again, just confirmation bias of an opinion you already had of Baker Mayfield before he came here.
CK, can I say that everything that you said is right, and yet I still have not seen enough to believe that this dude is my guy and the franchise guy going forward?
Right,
like,
you haven't
agree.
Seen enough to disagree with that.
But I've also seen that first half, and I think that's indicative of who Baker Mayfield is, and it doesn't change my belief in him. So my point is that this performance from Baker, if you're a Baker Mayfield super fan, or if you're his biggest hater, much like golf stats, you can find every different argument to bolster your own argument. I can point to the drop passes, but you can point to him hitting Ian Thomas and Robbie Anderson to put us back in the game. So it's like, until we get more of a sample size, we're still just going to be picking and choosing. And I don't blame the caller when he says that I'm not doing the pat on the back moral victory type thing, because at the end of the day, we didn't get the W, and that's all that matters in the NFL.
Look, I'm agreeing with the caller to a certain extent, and I understand where they're coming from, but I'm also on CK's side with this a little bit, and I just want to bring up one point to everybody. I remember a few years ago, we were down 17 to the Eagles, I believe it was. Cam Newton was playing horrible the whole game, and we had a rally come back, win in the fourth quarter. We ended up not allowing the game-winning field goal to go back against us, but we praised Cam Newton for the ability to come back in the fourth quarter after having such a terrible game and how great he did. And if you look at Baker Mayfield's stat line, 16 for 27, 235 pass yards, passing touchdown, interception, 1 rushing red zone touchdown over 10 yards, and 2 pass plays over 50, that sounds like a Cam Newton stat line, doesn't it? Well, I mean, it sounds just like a Cam Newton stat line, and we would praise Cam Newton for this.
We didn't rush the ball for anything. And I would say I do, when it comes to what CK is saying, is I think this is probably one of the worst performances you're going to get from Baker.
It could be.
I don't think it's going to be much worse than this, unless we see that interception number pop up. But I think all those other stats, it's like the 5 fumbles. But, I also got a friend on this podcast that says, if my aunt had nuts, she'd be my uncle. And if your aunt had nuts, CK. What would she use to keep them plums nice and clean?
Oh, listen, we know that them ladies try to keep things nice and tight down low, right? Men sometimes will just phone it in, right? At the end of the day, we're just sitting there. I don't know. Have you guys ever shaved and realized how much bigger you look afterwards? I mean, I'm just saying, guys, if you don't think your lady sees that and looks at you and I have my entire life kind of gone about things in a very selfish manner. And it's only until I got to a mature age in my adulthood where I was like, you know what? I'm not just taking care of myself for myself anymore. I'm taking care of myself to make sure my wife is happy, to make sure I feel good about myself. And so we have this new partner called Manscaped. Some of you in the chat have already heard us talk about them. I can't speak highly enough of these guys and the products they put out there. They have this lawnmower 4.0 that's supposed to help prevent nicks. And it's one of those things that I think that if you've ever been somebody who has been afraid of manscaping, getting some grooming below the belt because of, I mean, let's be real about it, there's nicks and things like that. This lawnmower 4.0 puts you in a position to be able to do that confidently and actually feel confident about yourself, be able to go to your lady or any random ladies and say, look what I got. I got a package for you. And so here's the deal. Go to manscaped.com, use code Panthers, and you're going to get 20% off plus free shipping anywhere in the world. And listen, I can't speak highly enough. They have a lot of different things. They have ball deodorant. They have crop preserver, as they call it. They have nose trimmers, as Cody loves. Cody loves these nose trimmers. He can't stop talking about these things, guys.
I got some gnarly nose hairs, bro.
So yes, at this point in time, I think you guys should all go and check that out. And do us a favor, if you were interested, you don't have to spend $150 if you can't afford that right now. They have smaller packages, just like many of you guys do. And so go there, check out what they have. We need 8 people to use this code for the rest of this month. We only need 8 people. We probably got a few orders in already. So if you guys haven't had an opportunity to go check out their products, definitely head over to Manscaped and check it out.
My man said there's smaller packages there, like you may have. Make your package look bigger with the small package, the smaller package. Make sure you get your products, your grooming, men's grooming tools at manscaped.com using the code Panthers. All right, let's keep going on with these calls and let's see, can we find any optimism in the building here?
Hey, Fitness for Life here one more time. And I should also just mention that the reason why I really latched onto your guys' content is just because of the state at where the Carolina Panthers are as compared to the Giants. We're both struggling organizations over the last few years that have just been in the doldrums. And I have to say that, misery loves company. So following your guys' content has always been, definitely something I enjoy. So I'd mention that. And yeah, may the best team win.
That's my fault right here by playing these calls out of order. Let's get part 1 of his call in real quick.
Hey, C3 Nation. This is Fitness for Life, and I'm a diehard Giants fan that's been following the channel for the last year now. I found you guys when we faced off last year and, found your channel. So I really have the utmost respect for all of you guys and the content you guys put out on a weekly basis. And just wanted to call in, just with the game coming up this week, and my kind of take is to what to be expected. So I think that probably the biggest factor going into this game that's going to play a role for the Giants is if we're able to establish the run. Looking last week against the Tennessee Titans, we were able to put up 238 rushing yards on them. And that's something that we're not used to. So to see Saquon Barkley back healthy was great. He put up by himself 164 yards and a touchdown against the Titans defense that only allowed 3 100 rushing yard games last year. So I think that if we're able to do that, that's going to be, how we're going to be most productive. But looking at you guys, I think that you're going to be able to take advantage of our cornerback too, Aaron Robinson. He's that's probably where our weakest is our cornerbacks. And I know you guys have some pretty flashy wide receivers and whatnot. But curious about your guys' opinion on the game. And yeah, this is the first time I've called in, but I'm constantly watching your guys' content when I'm working out or also taking my dog for long walks. So just wanted to pop in and, say hello and may the best team win. So go Big Blue, but yeah, keep doing what you.
Hey, Tony, I do believe that there are two kinds of calls that I deem to be my favorite. Whenever we have people who listen to us long form, maybe they're driving a truck or whatever, and they put on the C3 Panthers podcast, and they'll listen to us for however long this already long-winded podcast. They will listen to the very end, but I have to admit, I also love those when we hear from fans of other teams that maybe they checked us out during a post game show or during one of our preview matchups, and they end up sticking around. Yo, that's how you know your boys are doing something good on the C3 Panthers podcast. When we got fans from other teams that will still come back and hang out with us,
And
that's
even
really
call
cool.
And even call in, right?
Yeah,
And
for sure.
contribute to be part of it. I think it shows you great about football and what football can do. And,
sure.
This is why I actually love. This is why I started a football podcast, is because I wanted to interact and debate and have fun with kind of banter, but it be cordial and fun and friendly in a way. And like I will talk shit. I don't mind people talking shit. You know what I'm saying? I love that, but I just love the camaraderie that comes with hanging out with you guys on Tuesdays and with this chat room and even hearing callers from the other team. So let's talk about his call. Thank you so much for your contribution. The number is 252-228-5098. My first reaction when I was listening to his call was he said, I think if the Giants is what they're going to have to do is establish the run, is why would they not? Or why could they not at this point? It would be, you reference putting up those yards against a team who hasn't allowed rushing yards. Well, the Panthers have. So what is going to be the wildest is if the Carolina Panthers manufacture and find a way to stop the run. Sadly, he's on to something here, because it seems like every time you have a belief that that's how a game is going to work out, it goes the other way, unless it's the Panthers trying to stop Nick Chubb. Everybody knew that the Browns were going to be running the ball, and they still couldn't do anything about it. But, we've played historically teams with bad offensive lines, and we go, oh, this is the week we're going to get some pressure and get some sacks. We don't get jack against them. So the run game, if you are the Giants, that is going to be the centerpiece of your offensive game plan, particularly given how bad that Daniel Jones has looked, at least from what I've seen just in the brief clips I saw from that game. I tried watching a little bit before we started the podcast. I'll go watch it closely before tomorrow night. And the Panthers have to find a way to just play cleaner, right? And what he said, maybe this is a good thing for our more on Baker Mayfield passing yards, as he said that the weakness is the secondary in that defense. It seems like maybe their linebackers are pretty good. I don't have to go and find some of that, but how can you not establish the run against the Carolina Panthers, guys?
I mean, look, I was just like last year. You know me. When I get on my hill to live on or die on, however you want to call it, dude, I really start to believe in some of these players. And one of the guys that I really started to believe in before the season started was Brandon Smith. And my God, I wish this guy was playing for us. I mean, whenever you have a 6'3", 250-pound linebacker that can fly to both ends of the football field, runs a 4.3, yeah, I want a little bit of an injection of that on our defense, man. And I know a lot of people were really not happy with the performance of Corey Littleton. I was one of those people. I did not think that Littleton played very well. This is a season after you let go of a player who went on to go to the Pro Bowl with another football team. That is one of the most underserviced positions, I feel like, on our football team in terms of about how much of a problem it is. The linebacker problem continues to be an issue, and we might already have the fix on our team. You have to have a powerful linebacking core to be able to stop the run. I think we have the guys to do it, but we just need to play better. And Phil Snow needs to, frankly, I think, move away from this 3-3-5 defense that we've almost become a joke for running at this point.
Well, you know what? They praise you when it works, and they make fun of you when it doesn't. We've constantly said Phil Snow was the best coach on this team, right? And that's what we said for the last 3 years. Now, I guess you could say Wilkes. I think what we need to see now is that the Carolina Panthers now sell out against the run. 2 years ago, they had to sell out against the pass because they didn't have a secondary. Right. And that's why they ran like 20 defensive backs back there. Essentially, is like they would do like remember they did the 2-3-7 one time or something crazy. It was like that. And at the end of a game. And so I think I think it's time to have faith enough that you guys tell me that JC Horn is so good. You tell that everybody says that Jeremy Chin was probably maybe the underrated player in this game and this making plays. You know, even though I didn't hear his name a lot, we need to we paid these guys. You got Dante Jackson back there. You paid the secondary. You invested in the secondary. I think it's time to sell out against the run and have faith in your corners against Daniel Jones and make them beat you through the air. So that's an important thing. And, you know, it's just crazy that this is going to be such an important game for us going forward. Is that I'm telling you, if we feel this way after a week 1 loss against the Cleveland Browns, imagine after that performance last year against this New York Giants team, and then going and laying an egg, them starting out 2-0 with a new coach, Saquon and Raju like stealing the show. Say that happens and Christian McCaffrey is languishing and the Panthers lose. That is going to be, I don't know how we're going to come back onto this show and say, hey, it ain't that bad. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's keep going.
Hey, guys. This is Jedi Jor. I'm going to try to make this quick. So yesterday, I guess Sunday, it was disappointing. I think I still had the Browns as loss on my win-loss total this year. So I think I'm still at, 7 wins for the whole year. The big test is probably going to come this Sunday against the Giants. It'll really show, what direction this team is headed because, if we lose to the Giants, then I don't think we're going to get a win till Arizona. Arizona's like the really only bad team that we had. We saw what the Giants did against the Titans last week, and I think we can say the Titans are arguably better than what the Panthers are. And they will be playing at home, so, that's always a 3-point swing. So we shall see. It really comes down to if we can stop Saquon Barkley from running all over us. And even though Danny Dimes is not that great, I'm sure he's going to be better than what Brissett was last Sunday. So we got to see how we handle that as well. As far as, the state of the team, I don't know if it was you guys or another podcast I was listening to, but what's really troubling is I think it's not only Rhule, but also Fitterer. We focus so much on getting these guys who have traits and can play multiple positions and are fast. They have different attributes that it seems like we didn't focus on getting guys who can actually ball, who can actually tackle. Tackling is a fundamental thing that you should learn from Pop Warner. So I don't know. It's frustrating. I've been a Panthers fan for years, so I'm not going to go anywhere, but I don't really have high hopes, but I'm glad that we can all talk together and have this therapy session because otherwise it would be hard times as a Panthers fan. All right, guys.
Yeah, this Giants game is a make it or break it type game, sadly, and it shouldn't be like that in week 2. Gotta wonder though. I'm less scared of Daniel Jones than I am Jacoby Brissett, but Jacoby Brissett's yards on PrizePicks is far lower, about 40 yards lower than Daniel Jones. So it's going to be an important one. going forward, the Panthers are going to have to make some corrections, and those players are going to start making some tackles. Let's keep going to the next call.
What's up, guys? This is Chase from Anderson, South Carolina. I think part of the problem with this coaching staff is the refusal to play players where they need to be. Ikwonu is built to be a guard, not an offensive tackle. He don't have the athleticism to be a tackle. He needs to play guard. If they switch him and Brady, like everybody says they need to, that left side is going to be solid. Brian Burns, I think he's too undersized to play 4-3 defensive end. He's getting manhandled. He's getting pushed aside. Yes, he wins some matchups from time to time, but I think he'd be better utilized as a outside blitzing linebacker in a 3-4 scheme. What you guys think about that?
Can I answer a question here, Cody? I know you have some thoughts on this and a very strong opinion. I'm starting to go the other way a little bit because I watched a lot of that film back, and Icky didn't look bad in a lot of those plays against Myles Garrett, right? I think you can get a lot of positives from that, but the flip side to that, I think you put Brady over there, it's the exact same result. You're going against the monster in Myles Garrett. And the reason I'm not saying that it can't work that way. I'm just saying as a whole to look at this from the high view of if you switched them, that outcome would have been different. I think that's just unfair. I think that you got to keep in mind Brady is very limited in his experience on this field as well. Like he's got some more experience than Icky, but I think you also got to keep in mind he probably is going to get those same lumps, if not, potentially look worse, because I think they wanted to make Icky probably get a little bit more help. And I think there is some truth to maybe Icky isn't to blame for some of that pressure, because there should have been a chip, but I still think there shouldn't need to be that extra help. But with a guy like Garrett, it's tough. It's a tough uphill battle, and we all knew this was coming. So let's just, like I said, I think the idea of switching them, I don't think it's impossible for Icky to be a good left tackle. I just think this was his first NFL game against potentially one of the best defensive ends in the entire league, and he wasn't getting a tremendous amount of help until that second half.
I mean, for the most part, I agree with a lot of what you say, CK. Like, when you're going up against Myles Garrett, you should expect some lumps and bruises. And while I can't sit here and guarantee you that Christensen would have done better, I'm just of the opinion that he has more tools in his left tackle bag at this current moment than Ikwonu. Yeah. And I feel like when you're thinking about Icky, a lot of people forget that coming from NC State, he didn't come from an offense that asked him to pass set a ton. They were a run-first offense. Only later in the season did they really start to air out the ball. So it's going to – I'm not sitting here – I'm not giving up on Ikwonu. You're hearing a lot of people on the phone calls saying, he's just not athletic enough. He doesn't have the footwork needed from the left tackle position to be able to live there. I don't think that's what it is. I just think that you're looking at a rookie player who is having to play, honestly, one of the hardest positions to play in all the NFL at left tackle. You're going up against freak show defensive ends week in and week out, and to have the kind of athleticism, play strength, and the length that you need to be able to do those things. I mean, Icky has a few of those things, but it's going to take some time before he really starts to add to that toolbox and become a well-rounded left tackle.
Not to double down on this, but I mean, I know we've hit this topic constantly, but Matt Rhule did him zero favors by making it a competition and him having to earn the starting position. Right.
I agree.
Like not getting
Especially
the reps.
When he just handed it to him.
Right.
In the end of the
At
day,
the end of the day, he just handed it to him. We don't know what, again, there is a lot that we don't know. We don't see, we don't hear, we don't know. We're not a part of the meetings. We're not a part of the I guess just the workouts that they do in the back end that aren't publicized on social media. But I mean, the reality is, I think there's not a single person on the face of the planet that thought that Icky was going to be back up. He was going to be on the starting line at some position, right? It's like they didn't even try to put him into the starting lineup until that final week of the preseason. Like, it just was ridiculous. So I think a lot of this can also be Matt Rhule's fault too. Like, if there was some lumps and bruises, some miscommunications, it falls on the fact that you've literally got a coach who's trying to make false expectations as far as what a competition is. And like, you remember his first year, he wanted to say Christian McCaffrey, he has to earn his starting position too. Like, get the fuck on. Like, you know that this guy knows who his starters are. Like, it's okay to let people have earned that based on how they've done in the past. If you're to say that he didn't earn it and he's a top 10 pick is foolishness at the highest level.
You shouldn't have picked him, if you didn't think that he could be starting left tackle.
Right.
I think also that I'm not going to go on the athleticism, that he's not good enough and not athletic enough. He's more suited to be a guard. I think that one is that we know he could play guard, right? That's the thing, is we know he could play guard. And when you play guard, you don't get put on the island like that all the time. So you are going to, like, of course we know he would excel at guard. I think he's going to excel at left tackle. I've tried to tell you guys that the left tackle position is one of the hardest ones to acclimate. Even when you're the best of the best of prospects, it still takes often years for these guys to become the badass players you expect them to be. The one thing is, and you can continue, I guess, if you want to continue to say there's problems with Matt Rhule on this, I agree, is like, if he is a run first left tackle, why don't we run? Why don't we try to negate some of this pass rush when these guys are getting home all the time? Run at Myles Garrett behind that big boy and make him pause a little and have to start compensating for the run. So I'm fine with Icky, but I think you guys have brought up a lot of good points. I think the manufactured competition, the ability for him to play guard, all of those things are going to factor in. And Matt Rhule defended him in the press conference, saying those sacks weren't all on him, or at least one of them. And,
I mean, to be fair, you kind of have to defend him, because if you didn't defend him, you're not only hurting his confidence, but you're making a big statement about your ability to assess talent as an organization. If you're saying like, yep, he shit the bed, like he fucking
I mean, he's sure, but Matt Rhule has been known to hold some guys accountable and coddle other guys.
I was just going to say earlier.
I don't think he was coddling them, though. I think Icky played fine. I think the problem was that there were so many damn problems. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because just in that same presser earlier, he coddles CJ Henderson, and then he even says that this is really only JC Horn's third NFL game, and he throws him under the bus.
Yeah, about the hands, and he can't play with the hands. And it makes it hard for Panther fans as they watch Pat Surtain just kill it over there. Even Richard Sherman going on Twitter talking about how great he is. All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey, guys, this is Lee from Houston. Listen, before the last game, you had Phil Snow come out and on his press conference just defending last season against the run. I think he even quoted some stats talking about how we were only 4-point-something yards per carry. Guys, that is when I first knew that this game was not going to go our way. The guy defending the run last year, we all saw what was wrong with the team, what was happening there. And you knew, it just gave you the feeling that they weren't taking the necessary steps to actually defend against the run. And for Cleveland, that's exactly what we needed. We should have at least 4 down linemen who are over 270 pounds on that line against teams like Cleveland, and next week against teams like the Giants, who, my God, Saquon Barkley killed it last week. And if we don't address the run before this next game, it's going to be more of the same. The guy's going to have over 200 yards on the ground. So I knew we were in trouble going into Cleveland when I heard Phil Snow just talking about, the run defense. It was actually pretty good last year, in the top 10 in yards per play. We all know that was bullshit. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Hopefully this is a huge wake-up call to Snow and that defense. He really needs to fix the scheme. It's not the players. It's the scheme. His bullshit college scheme with 6 defensive backs on the field, that's not going to cut it. Not against a team like Cleveland. Definitely not against the Giants. All right, guys, tell me what you think.
That brings up a fantastic point. That might be my favorite call of the night. because we have been very critical already of Ben McAdoo, and rightfully so. Well, we had problems on defense, or rather on offense last year. So Matt Rhule said, okay, I'm going to go, and instead of having Joe Brady, a college coach who ran a college offense, I'm going to go get an NFL coach who runs an NFL offense. Why is it that the same thing wasn't done? I mean, most people have been very complimentary of Phil Snow, and most of us would say if we're picking coaches of the Panthers, who would we pick? Most of us would probably have said Phil Snow. But as we continue to go on and hear the same problems rear their ugly old head, and we have problems with our defensive backs now, and we're still doing this thing with 6 DBs on the field, could it be possible that Phil Snow is just not up to stuff on fielding a competent NFL defense? How long does he get to live on those last 3 years and just say, oh, okay, for 3 games, or the last year for those first 3 games when he was running everything on defense and we had a legendary defense that was at the time. Now, not so much.
I mean, you're
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
We
that's
didn't let
the
Rivera.
thing is like Cleveland. We all knew they were going to do that. Everybody knew all off season they were going to do that. There's no surprise about that. They had Jacoby Brissett quarterback. You should have made Jacoby Brissett beat us, but instead, you know what? We just got beat on third down over and over, and that running game just had no answer for it. So we're going to have to get it fixed. And if we don't get it fixed, then Phil Snow's part of the problem, right? And he's been the least worst of our problems so far. But these are points that have to be talked about and considered. Let's go to the next call.
It's me, C-Dog, man. I got cut off on my last call, but it's going to be a long year, guys. It's going to be a long-ass, dreadful season like it was last year. With that
Did we
being
hear his
said,
first one, Tony?
every time you come in this motherfucking goddamn live, show anything, goddamn free falls, Tuesday, the goddamn on game day, pre-show, motherfucking, the motherfucking Madden simulation. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you got them hit the motherfucking like button. Make sure you motherfucking subscribe. You know what I'm saying? These boys be on here consistently. You know, for the longest running Panther podcast, period. Even though their subscribers doesn't say it. You know what I'm saying? But I've been fucking with these boys for a long time, man. You know? Y'all boys keep doing the great work. Great show as always. Shout out to motherfucking G, baby, the motherfucking GOAT. You know what I'm saying? My motherfucking nigga. With that being said, keep pounding. Everybody have a great night. And let me just shout out to motherfucking Panther Tuckle, man, because finally Panther Tuckle has seen T-Dog's waves with Phil Snow. So I give him a shout out too. I was talking about Panther Tuckle while I was still at work and everything. But with that being said, keep pounding. Everybody have a great night. And just get ready to ride this roller coaster, man. You know, but the only thing we can be happy about is next year we will have a real fucking NFL coach. Only bad thing is we was gonna wait 3 years of Brian Burns, fucking McCaffrey, and DJ Moore with this fucking mediocre college bullshit that we got going on right now.
All right.
Anyways, great show. Keep pounding. Make sure you hit the motherfucking like button and subscribe. A great night, man. Everybody have a good night.
Great
stuff. Appreciate you, dog.
Let's go to the
next
call.
Man.
I hope you're doing well. Game. Yeah, first half was. I was all dressed up. Here I am. My commute shit on and my sneakers.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was a total disaster between.
What y'all saying? I don't know about.
Man, I think
Himself
we
or
got
whatever,
a bad
but
connection. He probably paid
that might be something. Lid on
Yeah,
it.
it's hard to hear him.
People that play like with bravado need to just do it. We have to accept that that's what he is. It's like Cam. Trying to suppress what Cam was just doesn't work. But Baker's in Britain we have Marmite, which is this black stuff you put on toast. You either love it or hate it, okay? Baker's going to piss off 30% of the people all the time. And he might as well just accept that. And then the rest of us, he might as well just play up to it and enjoy it. Obviously, great to see him get the pass to Robbie. I thought Robbie looked good. Nice to see PFF rated him below DJ Moore, of course. But apart from that, I think we'll improve. Matt Rhule's an absolute laughing stock amongst everyone. I don't think Tepper's going to be able to cope with this much longer. For a guy with his ego, I mean, every sort of national podcast I'm listening to, around the NFL and stuff, they're just laughing at Matt Rhule. There are mistakes made during the game that have been picked up on by people with lots of knowledge about the game, and they're just like, you didn't cover Kareem Hunt, and it's like there seems to be basic coaching failure. We were pre-season and we were all quite excited. The coaches seem all right. I think we'll get better. I mean, the second half we were pretty decent. I've got to say, though, to cause controversy, I think that Brian Burns is a borderline third down pass rusher. He isn't. He's a full-timer, but he's good, maybe very good. But he would work much better with much more coming off the other side. Is there that much difference between Burns and Haynes? There is, but in the terms of their role, digest that a bit. And the Derrick Brown pick from a couple of years ago is just a disaster. I mean, Derrick's all right, but that's about it. I mean, Christ, you pick somebody in the top 10. And
all right. Great call, Rich. Got a murky in the beginning of the connection wise. He's from across the pond. That probably cost him like $9 to make that point. And how about this? Is he brought up that he really is onto something when it comes to like what the national opinion is, whether or not we're being too hard on Matt Rhule or not. No one's doing this guy any favors nationally or talking about him in any positive light. Even the people that saw upside have changed against that. Irony or interesting part about this was I heard that it was David Tepper's birthday this game. Happy birthday, David Tepper. Happy birthday from the basement. All right, let's go to the next. And also, we're turning on our own. Icky's getting called out. Brian Burns is getting called out. Who's next? DJ Moore?
CJ Henderson. Greg was saying we need to get rid of CJ Henderson. Derrick Brown.
A long time.
We need to trade JC Horn.
Christian McCaffrey. Trade the farm, baby. Trade the farm.
Next call.
Panther Nation, how y'all doing? It's your boy G Cavassier. Hey man, I had a little thought in my head, and I don't know if it's gonna stick, but I see a lot of people aren't really happy with Icky. I know it's still kind of early, but people saying that he's not needed and everything like that. My question is to you guys, man, what do you guys feel like if we switched him to left guard and put Christensen at left tackle, put Brady at left tackle, and put Icky at left guard?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a thought? You know what I'm saying? I mean, because I'm reading all this stuff online, and I never noticed that he was not me. Never knew that, man. But what do you guys think about that, y'all? Keep pounding.
We've talked a little bit about that. As I think it's it's going to take some time. Let's go on to the next call. Let's see
what up, guys? It's Nick. So,
what up, Nick?
At least the first, 3 quarters for the most part kind of sucked. Baker kind of turned it on right before the half, but man, it was hard to watch.
Why does he sound like
the thing you got to constantly remind ourselves is this O-line, not all the pieces that are there now were there last year. Okay, one of our major pieces is a rookie.
I got caught.
Yes, he was going against Myles Garrett, who was one of the best defensive ends in the league. Okay, so he's not going. You can't realistically expect him to perform like Rashawn Slater did. Okay, that was just. I'm not going to call it a fluke by any means, but Icky is not Rashawn. It's that simple. Okay. So we knew that there was going to be some continuity issues as far as with the O-line. We also knew that we didn't really do much as far as our front seven is concerned on defense. If you don't do anything with the front seven, how do you expect anything to change with the run game? Okay, so we knew both those things going into Sunday. They were going to be a problem. All right. Baker, yeah, he looked terrible in the first half with all those drops, all the drop snaps. Like, dude, you can't be doing that. You are a professional in this league. This shouldn't be a fucking problem. But how Baker played in the fourth half, or the fourth quarter, okay, if he comes out and he plays like that against the Giants, then I'm happy. I knew this team was going to take a little while to kind of gel together and that sort of deal. We changed far too much. So, guys, let's just keep our heads up. It's early in the season. Who knows how things are going to play out. Keep pounding.
All right, next call.
Yo, what's good, C3? Tune in, listening to the show while I'm in class working on some vehicles, and felt like I call in, share my opinion on what transpired on Sunday, because I see and feel like a lot of people are down on the team for good reason. Like nobody likes taking an L, especially week one. But to that point, it's week one. You're talking about a new OC, a new QB who did not get all of the reps with the starters, offensive line being shifted around, competition and things of that nature. And I know a lot of people are down on Rhule. Personally, I didn't see Rhule do anything in that game that would make me feel some type of way towards him, right? Dude actually seemed like he did what a head coach is supposed to do. You can talk about the management in the offseason and everything leading up to right now, and it probably did play a factor, like I said before, that Baker wasn't taking all the reps with the ones. But for all that being said, as terribly as that team looked for 2.5 quarters, 3 quarters, the amount of talent on that team started to show who Baker Mayfield is as a quarterback. And I'm not saying here singing praises that this dude is the best of the fucking best, but he's much better than what the hell we've had for the last couple of years. And it started to show. For those reasons and multiple other ones, like a lot of people were down on the defense. I went and spoke with Browns fans and legitimately was told, hey, if you pay attention throughout the season, you're going to see the Browns do that shit quite a damn bit. Like they're going to run. That's their MO. That's what they're going to do. And then again in defense, they didn't give up a touchdown at all in the second half. If our offense is capable of putting up just 3 points in that first quarter, the whole role of the game changes. So I'm not tripping over the loss. I was pissed, as are most fans, as people should be if you root for the team. Nobody likes taking an L week one. No one likes taking an L, period. But I like what I saw. So I like what I saw towards the end. That they come out there with that same kind of fire, that same kind of grit for the remainder of the season. I promise you, this team is going to be hell for a lot of people, a lot of opponents. Like I say, it's week one. Pump your brakes, calm down, hit something if you need to hit some. Light up.
Thanks for the call. Good call. You know what? A good balanced perspective here. Let's keep going.
Hey, y'all. It's TJ here. First time caller. Not a long time listener, but, I started listening to the podcast just before the draft 2020. Ron Rivera's gone.
TJ?
Cam Newton's gone. A lot of uncertainty with the Panthers at the time. So I went to YouTube trying to find out, what's the real news, Came across the podcast. And I've been listening to it ever since, y'all, So I appreciate the content. Just wanted to say.
Nice.
I gave the players a lot of slack.
That was a long
for
pause.
the game this week. But the more I sit on it, think about it, and I always go back to it, it's got to be Matt Rhule. I mean, it's got to be the coaching. And I just want to hear y'all's thoughts on this. You go back to, who was it? George Seifert. I mean, I became a Panthers fan in 2003 when I started getting into football, 8th grade. One of my friends invited me over to watch the Super Bowl. Just so happened to be Panthers Patriots. So I've been a fan ever since then. But I'm looking here on the old Wikipedia. I see George Seifert, 99 to 2001. What George Seifert do? Let's see, 16 and 32. After that, you got John Fox, 73, 71. This is win-loss record, y'all. Ron Rivera, 76, 63. Point being, since I've been a Panthers fan, I can't think of a time I just hated a head coach we had, you know. You got John Fox, you know, man brought us to the Super Bowl. Ron Rivera brought us to the Super Bowl. What did they do? Great defenses, great run attack, right? So, anyway, point being, George Seifert, 1632. I'm looking here at Matt Rhule, 10 and 23. So, my God, boys, I mean, you give them 6 wins this year? I don't know. I say 6 wins or less. He's got to be gone. And don't tell me he built a team. I mean, he's bringing us back. Third year is the year for he's going to bring us back. He rebuilds. He's a rebuilder. George Seifert, I mean, the dude left the team in 2001. He was fired. John Fox won a Super Bowl 2 years later. So, I mean, if you're going to, I mean, that's just what I'm going on, y'all. I mean,
I know. Look, Matt Rhule, no one's happy with him right now. Ron Rivera, better coach than maybe we gave him credit for. At least made us competitive. Never got back-to-back wins. John Fox never got back-to-back wins. Both stacked together good defenses, like you talked about, strong running attacks. But let's not shit on George Seifert and his 5 Super Bowls with San Francisco, with the crappy ass Panthers team. Maybe he was in the end, but Matt Rhule, nowhere in that. He's got a lot to
hang on, before you go to the next call, I do want to say I'm noticing a trend in Panther fans where it's like, you know, I've seen this song and dance before.
Ooh,
like the same
Cody.
problems are continuing to rear their head. So why should I continue to believe, that this year the Panthers are going to be the belle of the ball? I'm telling you, man, I feel like after these past 2 seasons, where our expectations were sent to the moon, sky high, fans ain't down with the bullshit no more. We want results, and we don't want it a few weeks from now. We want them now.
Yeah, good stuff. Next call.
Man, it's me, C-Dog. I told y'all, man. I told motherfuckers a long goddamn time ago that Matt Rhule is a fucking bum. A mediocre college coach. Him and Phil Snow. Especially Phil Snow had that interview talking about how the defense was number 9 in the run defense last year. And real quick, man, for all you motherfuckers talking about we got a number 2 defense, shut that bullshit up. You silly motherfuckers. But real quick, man, I give a shout out to the motherfucking goddamn D, baby, man. Goddamn the motherfucking dope. You've been on the same shit I've been on. With this goddamn, this clown show, fucking circus is damn Charlotte. It's fucking embarrassing, man. This shit is fucking embarrassing. Just bring Cam back, man. Fuck it. Bring Cam back, so some goddamn tickets, something, man. But look, man, Baker Mayfield, I told you, he's a motherfucking bum. He leading the league in interceptions since 2018. Matter of fact, Baker Mayfield has never ever won an opening game in his career. And with the Cleveland Browns winning that opening game against us Sunday, that was their first time winning the opening game in like 20-something years. Just to put that in perspective.
They got rid of Baker
Miles
Mayfield.
Garrett didn't even fucking practice all week, you know. I mean, this shit is just fucking terrible, man. It's fucking terrible, man. Then, even though the Falcons lost Sunday to the Saints, the Falcons probably gonna whoop our ass this year. We'll be lucky to get one game against the Falcons. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just like it's gonna be a long goddamn year, man. I don't see Matt Rhule, especially if we lose next week to the Giants. We lost to the Giants last year, so I'll say Matt Rhule probably gonna be out of here probably about goddamn week 6. You out of here, man.
Potentially.
You know, but shit. The best thing you can do is every game, make sure you got you some liquor, some weed, whatever you got there, whatever is your goddamn source of poison. You know what I'm saying? And get fucked up and enjoy this motherfucking roller coaster ride, man. Until it's over with. You know, maybe Tepper has finally learned his fucking lesson and get a real fucking coach. Not do this dumbass shit. I can't believe you get this motherfucker all this fucking money. You know what I'm saying? All he does is get out coached every fucking game. Then think about how the fuck goddamn Christian McCaffrey only got 13 fucking carries. Like, what the fuck? Maybe got all these fucking running back,
All right, man, we
motherfuckers.
appreciate it, C-Dog. He's a great listener to the show, great supporter, like he always says. Smashes the thumbs up button, be a part of the conversation, show your like, and by subscribing. I think this is what we'll talk about. I want you guys to think about as we listen to the next call is what is the number that gets through week 8, through like what week? And let's just say week 8, the trade deadline. What is the record that we have that Matt Rhule is fired then? All right, let's go to the next call.
What's up, C3? This is Tim. I was just going to call and say that we've been let down again. Nothing new. But I will say this. The resiliency that Baker Mayfield showed to bring his team back after all the dropped snaps, all the mistakes that were made, he bounced back. We did what we had to do to take the lead, and there's not much more you can do to that. They could have played a whole lot better, but it is what it is. But, I mean, Baker looks pretty good. The snaps, they got to clean that up. The batted balls, that's going to happen. He's 5'1", something like that. But, yeah,
5'1".
I'm optimistic about what this season can hold. Love you guys' show. Keep fucking pounding.
Appreciate
it. That is a great call. Can I just point out real quick, that is something we said about Sam Darnold last year that we didn't like, and it's his problem is that he can't pull himself out of a slump when he comes in there. So we should give. I feel like that's a good point. Baker should get a lot of
when the
credit for that.
pressure was on. When the pressure was on, Sam Darnold crumbled.
Yeah, Baker didn't.
But at the same time, Baker had Christian McCaffrey, and when Sam had Christian McCaffrey, he went 3-0 to start the season.
Fair point.
Yeah. All right, next call.
What's up? This is Nostalgiaholic. Just calling in with my thoughts. I was at the game on Sunday, so I was a little bit too drunk and angry to call in for the post-game show. I think we had a real mixed bag on Sunday. Baker didn't start out very sharp. Super confused with the Elfline start over Bozeman, and I don't know how much of the snapping troubles were on Pat. Definitely some of it was on Baker. Getting passes knocked down at the line of scrimmage. I think that's a function of his height. But we settled in a little bit, and he definitely made some clean plays. Christian McCaffrey having 14 total touches, only 3 or 4 rushes in the first half. Like, Ben McAdoo might be smoking crack. That was tough to watch. And the defense, while they did get gashed, they made some stops when it counted. Bad pass interference call, take away the pick. I don't know, just a super mixed bag. Like, overreaction Monday is a thing for sure. Don't get too high or too low, or make huge jumps to conclusions after 1 week. Probably won't really know till week 4 or 5. But definitely, there should be some clarity on how good our defense can be and whether or not we can scheme to stop the run, because Saquon's going to bring it. And if we were going to be hyper effective against the run, you would think that would have been against a team with a quarterback who's not a real threat, like Jacoby just said. So we'll see. Mixed bag for sure. But what we do, we keep pounding, and if it's not, if the future isn't with this squad, we're about to tear the motherfucking thing down anyways. So mixed bag.
My favorite call.
I'm still hopeful that we can turn it around, and the easiest path forward would be if this crew could get it turned around. All right.
Amen. My favorite call of the night. Let's keep going.
This is me, C-Dog. I hate to call in again, but
nope, we got us out. We're gonna skip. We're gonna have to put a limit on. We're trying to go to a 1 limit, which I'm gonna have to go on to. But we appreciate the support. Let's go to the next call.
Hey guys, Chuck from Elizabeth City, aka Carolina sports guy. Just calling back. It's the second part of that call, and I was making a comment, a statement about it doesn't hurt as much to lose because we're used to it. And I guess what I'm saying is now these losses. Hey guys, calling early today. I guess this game's really settled in pretty well, and I'm kind of getting used to losing, guys. This is Chuck from Elizabeth City, aka Carolina sports guy. And I guess it comes down to really looking at that last drive. We had the ball, we kicked the field goal. You know, you look at the clock, there's about a minute and 24 seconds left. We got a first down on the 14. Now, this is where Matt Rhule and his coaching staff, it's called in-game coaching. It's not halftime adjustments, not being prepared before the game or talking about it after the game's over, what you should have done or didn't do. It's being in the heat of the moment. Looking, you know, we get all into the game, and sometimes we, just like we had a situation where the refs kind of jogged us on 2 plays at the end for Cleveland, Brian Burns roughing the passer, which was a joke. But what was even more is Jacoby Brissett with a fake spike, which should have been a penalty. And the refs jogged us on that one. I mean, it definitely cost us a game, but it never would have come to that if it wasn't for in-game coaching. First and 10 from the 14, or a minute 24. You know, they used their timeouts, but we did not execute 10 yards to get a first down on that drive. Touchdown would have been nice, but the field goal wins it, and of course that's not guaranteed. But if you come up with play design, mind you, between Eflin and Mayfield, the snap was boxed on 1 play. But we have to find a way, the coaching staff, I understand players execute. They have to come up with a plan to get 10 yards and get a first down inside that 4-yard line. We don't need the touchdown. Great if we get it. But by getting the first down, Cleveland's out of timeouts. We get a new set of downs. And we can run the clock all the way down. If we don't get the touchdown, we can run it all the way down to the last play of the game and then kick a chip shot field goal. This here is the in-game coaching and Matt Rhule and his coaching staff fails, and that's why we have an 8-game losing streak. We're not as bad as it looks, but we're miles away from having the quality players who can overcome this coaching staff. And don't get me wrong, Matt Rhule, as bad as he's been inept, I do not miss Ron Rivera. But because we lose so much, guys.
All right, man. Chuck, we appreciate the call. I think you bring up, and we're gonna move on to the last call of the night after this is if you I think what brings this question I would love about this call is that this was a failure on so many levels.
Yeah.
Right? It's a failure on coaching. What coaching? Offensive and defensive head coaching. Right? It was a failure in player execution where offense and defense. You have Baker Mayfield who did good things and bad things. The number of the fumbles, I think, were all on Baker. I mean, I know there might have been one. There was one that's listed in the playbook as being a fun. There's like a on Eflin, right? We can say that, but this man straight dropped him. He was like, you know, and he did this in the preseason too. And I don't know I think some of it's jitters, you know, I think some of it, he was trying to make some, you know, so ready to make something happen. That was some of it. But like, even he had good and bad. Everything, every group had good and bad, or I would say things that need to be better. I won't even say good. I would just say every group has things that need to be better.
Nobody was perfect. Nobody did their job 100% effectively.
No.
Again, this is up and
or
down
even
the roster.
80% effectively.
Yeah, it's and again, listen to what he said at the start of that call. I'm getting used to this losing. I mean, how long is David Tepper just gonna stay used to the losing and believing of a higher vision?
We did like this comment from Rare Gamer 99. He says Baker can score in the red zone. How long has it had since we had that? You know, Baker made some things happen when he needed to for us. I think it's going to get better. I think we're going to get better. I don't know if that getting better is going to be enough to make us happy at the end of the day, though.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's going to.
If we feel like we're getting better, but almost here's the thing that is going to frustrate people on Cody's level beyond anything else in the world is if we are better, but not good. You know what I mean? Like we're better, like we're a better team.
That's the fear.
That is the fear, right? Even if Baker comes in here and proves he's above average as far as a quarterback, which that's the everything's still out on that. The jury's still out on that. He's had good years, he's had bad years, and right now we're in that, like, this is the biggest prove it year of his entire career. we can only hope that motivates him to be a better quarterback. But if he comes in here and he wins 8 or 9 games, fuck that, dude. Like, he's screwing us out of an opportunity to get a franchise quarterback this year in the draft. I don't think we brought him over here thinking he was going to be the guy. I think a lot of us had hope that maybe he could be, and we're still going to see what that looks like. But at the end of the day, there's a lot to prove for us to get that, you know?
All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey guys, it's the growl that makes him howl, aka Joey the Blind Panther. And I wanted to call and talk about something. The Giants next week. The Giants are like my second favorite team because, one, I have a lot of family up there that follows the Giants, and two, I adore New York City. And I just love hearing people with those accents talk about football. It's entertaining. So I'm listening to a Giants podcast and they're recapping the game. We're going to get out coached next week, guys. Because if they have Brian Dable, they have, and he knows how to use his talent that he's got, and he does have some. I know people clown on the Giants' talent. Yes, they were bad last year, but they had Joe Judge. We still have the bum, Matt Rhule. The king of bless his heart. That guy? Yeah. So, could we beat them? Yeah. Could we lose to them? Yeah. So, they did real good, So, that's my thoughts on the game next week. Do y'all agree or disagree? And that's it, guys. Looking forward to next week. I do think we have something here with Baker Mayfield and company, because when he turns it on, he can turn it on, You saw what happened on Sunday. Anyway, guys. Wow.
Thank you for the call. I think that hits on so many of the kind of the conversation we've been circling the whole night, and what we need to know is until how do we think if we're glass half full or glass half empty is what, the Panthers are going to be the ones that have to determine that for us. The cup is empty right now until they start putting some water in it for us. I mean, at some point they got to give us something,
right?
Instead of us trying to reason them through why we should be happier than we are, right? Or so look, the Giants game means much more than it should. The Panthers need to go out there and prove that this was a game that good things happened in, that there were good things that can be gleaned and improvements made from last year to this year. And they need to, as someone said, show us that it's not a microcosm of last season, And right now, the Panthers have really changed very little over the entire time that Matt Rhule has been here. They're kind of about the same team that they've been, and one that is not very formidable at this point. I want to thank everybody, first of all, if that's in the chat room, who is a C3 super fan. You can be a part of that by joining. You just look for the join button on YouTube. If you're on iPhone, sometimes you got to alter it by going into the browser and getting out of the mobile version, because YouTube or Google and Apple are always fighting in the background. I'm pretty sure that's why that exists in that component, in that capacity. But you can join for $1.99 a month and support and show your support of the show. You can support the show by smashing the thumbs up button, like C-Dog says. That is free. You can call into the show at 252-228-5098. We got a ton of more content coming to you guys throughout the week. Last week we made our picks, Greg. I know this is the whole squad went 0 on the Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
What were the results of our picks last week? If we were 0 there, I picked I think I picked against Tampa like an idiot.
You picked you picked against Tampa, and so did I. So we're 0-2 right there.
And I know I got the Saints pick right. So I'm 1-2.
You're 1-2. Cody is 2-1. CK's 2-1, and I'm 1-3.
How are you 1-3?
I'm 1-2. Excuse me.
Yeah, we're both 1-2. All right, so we got to make up
So
some
I'm in the
ground.
lead?
Yeah,
me and you.
You guys are tied. You're up one game.
Oh, excuse
right
me.
now because we
I'm
were
0-3.
idiots and we
Excuse me.
tried to pick.
I'm 0-3.
Oh.
I picked Atlanta over New Orleans.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
So
that's
I'm
right. You
0-3.
did.
I was sitting there. I was like, "There's no way me and Tony are tied because we had different
You
picks."
almost
Wow,
like a genius, bro. You almost like a genius.
We'll
Atlanta
put you
found a
guys.
way
Look,
to
we're
choke,
gonna
bro.
put the podcast in the order.
Yeah, I like
shit.
that. I like that. Hey, on top, number one, baby. Let's go.
We're on that hill.
All right, you guys are the winners. You guys, Panthers at New York Giants. Must-win game, Cody Lashney. Do the Panthers go and pull it out right now? 2.5-point underdogs, I believe.
Underdogs to the fucking Giants? Are you kidding me? Sorry.
Hey.
Anyway.
Look, people are gonna get really upset, but from now on, I'm just calling them like I see them. I'm saying 27-23 New York Giants.
Okay.
All right. Cody's going Giants. CK.
I'm going the Panthers, but I'm gonna go 21-20 because Gano misses an extra point.
Ooh.
Oh,
I'm going Panthers on the road in a must-win game. Right now, I have no reason necessarily to pick them to win other than I want them to win. I think we could have won that game, and I think the Panthers and Baker Mayfield and that offense gets better. I don't know if the defense gets better, but if the defense doesn't learn from last week, they need to sell out and stop the run at all costs. This is a must-win game for the Panthers. I think the Panthers go on the road and actually have a somewhat decisive win at, let's say, 27-17 Carolina Panthers.
Okay. And, I'm just going to make, I'm not going to make it 4-4 because I guess Cody didn't go with Carolina. I'm going to go with Carolina as well. And I'm actually going to go kind of just like this week. I think it's going to be very similar to this week's score because I think we're playing a very similar team, not strong quarterback play, very strong running back play. So let's just go with 26-24 Carolina.
I needed to make up a game against Cody. We all CK could come out ahead in that. Like, that's the way he could stay on pace. I tell you this, if the Panthers don't win this game, I'm not picking the Panthers to win until they win a game. Kind of like I'm gumming on the Cody hill at that point. Is like they're going to have to show me that I should pick them because this is the last we need to win pick I'm going to make. All right, who we got next? And the line is 2.5 for the Carolina Panthers. They're 2.5-point dogs. Week 2 schedule. Let's see who else is up. We've got. Where the hell is everybody? Chargers, Patriots, Steelers, Panthers, Giants, Jets, Browns, Dolphins, Ravens, Bucks, Commanders, Seahawks, Falcons, Rams. Falcons on the road with the Rams after a loss. I will start us off with this. Give me the Rams.
All right.
Yeah, I say Rams going to bounce back W. You never bet on the Falcons. I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, I'm going Rams as well.
4-4.
Yeah, and we also got Bucks at Saints. I think the Bucks offense
is it Bucks at Saints or Bucks at Commanders? I thought you said Commanders a second ago.
No, it's Bucks at Saints.
Okay,
I said Commanders.
Yeah, you said Commanders when you were going down the list of stuff, but it wasn't one of the.
I was just running down.
You said
okay.
Bucks and then Commanders. As much as I hate to say it, man, I kind of think New Orleans pulls off the upset. And by the way, New
2-0.
New Orleans has a good track record against the Bucks.
Yeah,
so,
they do.
I'm taking New Orleans.
Well, the New Orleans beat the Green Bay Packers in their opener last year, and they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in their opener the year before. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, look, I watched. Tom Brady still can sling it. He didn't have great numbers necessarily, but he still got it. All of that hype is over. How did I even for a second doubt them against the Cowboys? I want the Bucks here.
Nice.
I'm going Saints. Did you see how bad that offensive line played with the injuries they had Tom Brady got knocked down a lot more than I would have expected him to. He's not going to have Godwin. Julio Jones was okay, but he wasn't an it factor in that game. It was very underwhelming, which Tom Brady tends to be the first game of the season anyway. So I hesitate to put the Saints above him, but I think the Saints coming off of a pretty major comeback. I don't want to do this, but I think the Saints pull it out.
All right. Look, we got a couple of late night Warrior calls right here. Let's power
get
through
my
these real
pick.
quick.
Hey guys,
I thought you made it. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say the Bucks over the Saints on this one simply because Jameis Winston threw for 269 yards and 2 touchdowns last week, almost all in the fourth quarter, and he won, and people praise him for it. The exact same thing almost Baker Mayfield did, and people want to give him hell for it. So for the same reason, I'm just going to say they started slow. They're playing against a better defense with Tampa Bay. So I think Tampa Bay doesn't let them explode at the end.
I like it.
it's the growl that makes him howl, aka Joey the Blind Panther. And I wanted to call and talk about something. The Giants next week.
I heard this call, right? No, yeah, I said 2 more.
I'm a fan of Baker from Texas, and I'll tell you one thing. It wasn't him that let the Panthers down against the Browns. It was the defense and a bullshit call from the officials, but it also goes down to the point of I was a college quarterback, this. And if you get good coaching around Baker, he has nothing but extreme, like Super Bowl quality, and if not Super Bowl quality, at least getting you to the playoffs every year. So take that for what you want.
He said the
But
hardest part.
I think
good coaching.
I think the defense let the team down on Sunday. So
Baker
thank y'all. I enjoy watching y'all's podcast.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think we said a lot of this in the post game, guys. The thing is that game we would have been dead in the water after a start like that with Sam Darnold or even Teddy Bridgewater being able to come back and play from behind. Particularly Sam Darnold making some fumbles like that pick, he would have been at least his track record shows him being mentally destroyed. Teddy Bridgewater just wouldn't have taken the shots necessary in the moments to get you back in the game. And I think that Baker made a lot of mistakes, man. I think that the batted balls are, we're going to see if this is, just a habit or always happening. I saw it in the few games that I went back and watched in Cleveland, even in his best season. So that was something that exists in his game. The fumbles, though, fumbles. But we got to love this but Baker Mayfield went over there and got mad, got angry, and got us back in the game. So look, I expect Baker Mayfield to have better performances going forward. Let's go to the next call.
Hey, what's up? It's Ty calling back. Hey, I'm going to say something about Baker. Here's the thing about that guy. Out of 10, he's a 6 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? He's going to do a lot of things good. He's going to do a lot of things to keep the fan base going. He's going to keep you guys rah-rah, and, he's going to say some edgy shit. He's a Baker, bro. So he's going to have some people on his side, and he's going to do some good things. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to that fourth quarter or it comes down to that critical play, he don't ever show up. You know what I'm saying? And he does those cardiac interceptions. You know what I'm saying? At the absolute wrong, inopportune time, going to throw a cardiac interception. Or he might not show up the first quarter, or he might not show up the fourth quarter. It's going to be something, but it's not going to be good enough. And he's going to be good enough to keep you guys from getting the franchise quarterback for the next couple of years. You know what I'm saying? If you guys sign him, you guys are going to be, around the 6-11-ish type of season. You know what I'm saying? 6-11.
I think
maybe 7 you know what I'm saying? Maybe 7 wins, but I don't see much. You know what I'm saying? Plus, you guys got to get a team around that guy anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys got a decent receiver core. Offensive line, yeah. You need a pounder back, too. You know what I'm saying? CMC's cool, but you need a pounder back. And you definitely got to address the defensive line and the linebackers. Thank you.
I'm going to look, because I don't like the Browns fans that takes their poor takes on CMC, right? They saw him hurt for missing games for 2 years, and they saw Nick Chubb get the ball and be fed 22 carries in this game, and CMC just put on the shelf. you would look at CMC and see his game is so versatile that you go, oh, he's not a between the tackles runner, but he does. He does it all, man. He does it all.
But he's not wrong either, right?
Okay.
He's not wrong either. I mean, that's what we brought Foreman in here for anyway, and we just refuse to run the ball. That's the biggest problem right now. That is probably one of the better calls of the night, because I think it is an even-keeled approach. And I don't think it's an emotional thought process. I think he's coming here with a direct path to why he believes to what he believes. And I think that's fair. He also pointed out our flaws, which anybody watching that game would have seen, which is our defensive line got no pressure without a blitz. And our linebacking core is leaving a lot to be desired. That's really the bottom line. I think 6-11 gets us one of those franchise quarterbacks this year, by the way, personally.
Maybe. I will say that was my biggest fear, that Baker Mayfield was going to keep us good enough to continue to coast without ever being in range to draft the quarterback that we need, and that we would just be incrementally better and still be another basement dweller. So, yeah, that is my fear.
Fantastic stuff. You've been listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, the longest running Panthers podcast on the internet, live every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. until, and we keep going. Not only the longest running Panthers podcast, but the longest Panthers podcast. But you know it, you love it. Look at these people still calling in, people still watching, still being a part of the chat. We ask you to support the show by subscribing, right? Smashing that thumbs up button, checking us out on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts, and supporting our sponsors, Manscaped, with the promo code Panthers for 20% off your order and free shipping, as well as PrizePicks 100% deposit bonus for daily fantasy sports. You can go there and make some coin using the code C3. The last segment of the show, guys, is the Ice Up picks. Let's ice some fools up. And the Ice Up segment, if you don't know about it, it's where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. Here's our homage to Steve Smith.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
All right. I'm going to go first. It's kind of one. It's a dual pick. It's a dual ice up pick, and it comes from the Monday night football game. When it comes to, maybe it's a trifecta pick, all about the same things. The Denver Broncos go to Seattle and lose, and they straight lose. I'm mad at Russell Wilson for not getting two passing touchdowns and losing the prize pick that should have won me for one in this game. You got to ice up Russell Wilson and this head coach in his debut as they let the clock count down and tried to, with 3 timeouts. They had like all their timeouts. It looked like they didn't call timeout. Peyton Manning is over there on the simulcast going, what the hell are you guys doing? What the hell are you guys doing? They end up kicking a 63-yard field, or attempting a 63 or 64-yard field goal. And it was 4th and 5, and you pay a guy $230 million. You trade these draft picks, and you don't put the ball in his hands. You are terrible clock management at the same time. You should have gone for it on 4th down. You should have called a timeout and talked about it. It's not like giving them the ball back, even if you kicked it, was going to be that much of a fear at that point. You should have had more faith in Russell Wilson. And you know what? So I'm going to ice up that coach, but I'm also going to ice up Russell Wilson. He should have called the damn timeout. He should have said, you know what? I've been in this league doing this longer than you have, sir. Let me come over here. I'll be here when you're not. So ice up to that. And this is kind of emblematic of it. I just want to say, I don't know. This is just like, hey, man, when you celebrate, you celebrate. I don't even know who this is grabbing Godwin's butt, man, but this is a good hefty squeeze right here of this. And he was saying this is that Broncos one last minute 4th down call and the inability to call a timeout was straight cheeks. That's what he's saying right there. So to you, Russell Wilson gets it first. He should have been the one, I think, that called the timeout and said, hey, let's really talk about this. What the hell are we doing? Let's go for it. 4th and 5. Ice up, Russell Wilson.
Ice up. So mine is to always know that you have cameras on you at all times, especially at an airport. Dude, tell me this isn't the craziest lick that you have ever seen. Watch this woman right here, okay? So this man, he's at the baggage check. His headset falls onto the conveyor belt. Chick grabs him, picks him up, deuces.
Wow.
I'm fucking out of here. This dude's looking around trying to find. Dude, how cold is that? She didn't have a second thought about taking this poor bastard's headset. Grabs it, picks it up.
Can I point out one thing? It's gotta be fake.
So people were saying that in the comments. It was never verified though.
I also heard that it could have been his wife, and she saw him drop his headphones
and just messing with him,
right? Or just picked him up, not thinking he was gonna freak out. But
why would they be videotaping that right there though? Like,
it's true.
What's the point of having your camera out in that moment? Like, there's no logic to that whatsoever.
Good point.
I will say that I chose this over a much nastier ice up pick. So maybe this is fake, but the thing is that it doesn't surprise me in today's world that someone would be so brazen about doing something like this. So yeah, it's pretty messed up. So to those people who are just constantly looking to get a leg up on someone, you're on camera, stupid. Ice up.
All right. So since Tony had taken my one about the timeout in the final minute and a half, by the way, they had 4 minutes on the clock when they got the ball back, and they didn't even get within 60 yards of the field goal before they had to kick the field goal. Like they drained 3.5 minutes off the clock, and they didn't even move like 40 yards down the field. Like it's insane. Anyway, so I'm sure you guys all remember the Super Bowl where just give it to Marshawn. Just give it to Marshawn.
Mm-hmm.
And Russell Wilson throws an interception.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on Monday Night Football, they decided to give it to their running back on the goal line twice.
Mm-hmm.
And he fumbled, and it was recovered by the Seahawks twice on the goal line. I just got to say, like, the irony is fucking hysterical. That on top of the fact that the Falcons continue to find a way to blow fourth quarter leads. Like, the list of fourth quarter leads that the Falcons have blown over the past 3, 4, or 5 years is hysterical. Like, hysterical how bad that is.
It's got to be like 33-3.
So the ironic endings like that, I have to say, ice up, son.
Right on, ice up. Greg, what you got for us?
Mine's really simple, man. Really low hanging fruit. Brad Rogers, the head referee at the Carolina game. I'm pretty sure that was his name.
Yeah.
Look, dude, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. Like, there's only 2 explanations to why you got that wrong, especially when your definition of why you didn't call it was the exact definition of why it's a penalty. You're either being told not to call it or you just don't know the rules. Roger Goodell sent a text the other day. I'll give me half the money they're doing right there, and I promise you, I'll do it and learn the rules whenever I referee. So I think it's absolutely ridiculous that on this level that we touched on earlier, we have part-time referees in this billion-dollar corporation, and it's really kind of. I know I'm reacting to this because it just happened to me, and it happens to people all the time. But I feel like this ruins the game. And I feel like it really, really does.
This is where they need an orange flag. The NFL needs to be able to intercede. They need to have a referee that's watching from New York or from New York that's just watching that has a direct feed that can like say 1 second. We're not going to do this a lot. Where don't do this unless there's an egregious misreading of the rules. But like we should, is you already slow the game down a ton with commercials and this and that. If you do this once every 7 or 8 games, or you do it 4 or 5 times a year, where all of a sudden there's New York's called, we're going to review this play, and it could be anything. They should do that.
Well, the thing that's interesting to me is I think the reason they didn't want to do that is they don't want to slow down the game. But my thought is, like, it's all about money with them, right? You've added an extra game already to the slate. That's expanding the season. That's not slowing down the game. I mean, that's not speeding up the game. That's slowing it down a little bit by adding the 17th game, right? So if anything, by doing it that way, you're getting an extra commercial break in, potentially at least once a game, maybe. I think the biggest thing is it's got to be like if it's in the fourth quarter, right? Fourth quarter,
there's got to be rules for it.
You have like if it changes the outcome of a game, it needs to be able to be reviewed, and I think that should be discussed. That way, it doesn't slow down the game to where every other call is getting reviewed, because that would get fucking annoying. But I mean, if it's that final 2 drives and it's a game, like it is a drive that is impactful to the outcome of that game very clearly, then fucking go ahead.
They need to just write it. Yeah, they need to just write it into the rules as something egregious, like an egregious mistake by the official. Like, is that no? It's like we're not gonna like, that spot wasn't right by an inch or something like that. But like when they have a call. And I guess maybe the fear is that if they don't make a call, then you don't want them to like throw the flag. It would have to only be, just on flags that are out. Maybe you just say this is that we reserve the right if a flag is thrown and a penalty is called or some mistake is made in the interpretation of the rules to intercede.
Or you could also fix it by just saying you can challenge 1 penalty a game. You have 2 red flags, but you can challenge 1 penalty a game because they don't allow challenging on penalties. But allow them to allow teams to challenge at any point in time in the game. Allow them to challenge 1 penalty a game. That will not slow the game down that much.
Could you just find the refs a game check?
I don't think it matters to them. They probably make more 3rd doctor and judge jobs than they do.
Yeah,
I
know it's a strange thing. It's like why you want to be anyway. All right, ice up Brad Rogers, and ice up officiating that really impacts the game. And as we know, the game goes on, the deeper it goes on, the more the calls and the plays are meaningful. You make a bad throw in quarter 1, there's got to be some sort of game theory about that. Is how like as there are less plays in the rest of the game, the more valuable each play becomes. If there's only 20 plays left, you only have it's 1 of 20 plays instead of 1 of 80 plays earlier on. So that's when it really kind of compounds. That's why people say fourth quarter, final 2 minutes, things like that. And in this case, it really gave them a shot to win. The Panthers shouldn't have been in that case anyway, right? They shouldn't have been in that position. We need them to not be in that position on Sunday. So look, we got more content coming to you. We're going to be lining up the beat check tomorrow night. We're going to see who we can get for that. Still got some guests in mind. See if we can get both a New York guy and a Carolina beat writer on here. We got Debate My Take coming this week. We have the Madden simulation, the Friday free-for-all, and on the Sunday, we got the post-game show, and the post-game show was rocking and rolling. Remember, we're going to one call per game per show. That's what we're trying to move to make sure that everybody's opinion gets heard, and we continue to enhance and deliver our content and expand it as we go forward. Cody, the local radio station or the pirate radio that I go on, they have a post-game show, and they found their first audio bombers. We get the D bombers on Friday free for all, but now it was a thing. The first time in their 20 years of doing this post-game show, people are audio bombing, and now they're having to put in protocols for tape delays and things like that because people
Yeah, we
coming
know
on and
about
doing
that. We know all about that. Hey, let's just say there are some dicks out there, both literally and figuratively.
And they all need to be talking about Manscaped. If you guys are interested,
Yeah.
go to manscaped.com. If you're going to be showing your dick on screen, go to manscaped.com. Use Panthers as the code. You'll get 20% off and free shipping worldwide. And listen, you don't have to be embarrassed about what you show on screen anymore.
If my back doesn't heal up, count me in for Friday free for all and Geeks Chasing Squirrels Through the Multiverse. I am caught up. I am caught up on Hot D on House of the Dragon.
Yeah,
Caught up. So I can talk. I can talk all about that and how really took a turn in this past episode. I don't know. It's like I felt like it was gaining momentum. Now I don't know if I like this episode. Different things like that. Greg, where can they find your work?
Like you were just saying, Geeks Chasing Squirrels Across the Multiverse on Fridays. Just Geeks Chasing Squirrels on YouTube. You can usually find it. It's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. This week we're talking about some Hot D, Rings of Power, Cobra Kai, Lower Decks, and She-Hulk. And then Disney's D23.
They want you to think about.
I see what you did there.
Woke ass Disney with She-Ho as their new show. CK, how can they follow you?
You can find me on all social media platforms at Codizzle Allen. And of course, here on C3, we're going to be doing the Madden simulation every week. We're going to be doing a live stream. Any of the guys are more than welcome to join in here, and we'll basically do a play-by-play, talk about how Madden continues to see the Panthers being a absolute disappointment. This past week was honestly quite reminiscent of how the game went, to be quite honest. So go check it out.
Cody, what can they expect from you and us at C3? I know I ran through it, but it doesn't hurt to say again what you want them to hear.
Yeah, man. Join me every Friday at 7 p.m. for the Friday Free for All, the show for the fans, by the fans. You can come on via StreamYard. I'll post the link in the description and in the chat. You can be a part of the show. That's every Friday at 7 p.m., the Friday Free for All. Hey, man, we've got the cult of free for all going over there, man. My boys, we roll deep over there in them free for all hills. So come check us out every Friday at 7 p.m. And you can find my written work on drafttech.com, where I am the Panthers analyst, writing first round comments for the Carolina Panthers. So
how did you guys do in your prize picks?
Horrible.
Horrible.
I got
Fuck you, Stafford.
2 of them.
I missed one on everything. Let's put it that way. So I didn't win anything. I missed at least
Friday
one on every
free for all. Did the Friday free for all?
We got 2. No, we got 2 and then lost the other 2. Went 2 for 2, and I went all.
You broke even. So you broke even though. No,
I mean, no, I didn't break anything. I had to get all
so
4.
you didn't actually. So you didn't get all of them that it was required on any of them.
Yeah, I went all in. I went on the 10 times multiplier, all 4. So
it's the only way to go. You're gonna kick yourself in the butt if you get them all 4 right.
So what my friend likes to do, $5 entry, and he does 5 picks, and it pays $50. So that's like his go-to. It's like it's hard, but when it hits, you make $5, and it's like for him, that's like a good return that he likes. So look, Friday free for all versus the Tuesday show. Right now, we got to make up some grounds. That's for sure. PrizePicks using the promo code C3. Cody Lack. They can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. But let's get the hell out of here. Take us out of here, my friend. Thanks for all the callers. Thanks for all the super chatters. Thanks for all the super fans. And we're going to continue to bring you some of the best, most diverse Panthers content on the internet as we go forward. Take us out of here, Cody.
Panther Nation, until next time, keep pounding.